Chapter 494. Hearing Teacher Wen say this, Bei Yunj did not speak for a moment. Seeing this, Teacher Wen could not help but sigh. Do you have any concerns? Did children these days like to score low so much? A little. Teacher Wen could not help but look up at her. What concerns? Bei Yunj took a bite of the cake and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. Because, my brother doesn't like to go home. I have to watch him. Just as Teacher Wen was stunned, Bei Yunj said slowly, I hope Teacher Wen won't mention this anymore. Otherwise, I don't know where the first place in the level is, but the last place in the level will definitely be our class. Teacher Wen was speechless. What an overboard threat. It was difficult for Bei Yunj not to know about the contact between the form teacher and her family. Almost every week, she could see Qin Yu and Qin Lang taking turns to post her corrected homework on WeChat. She was just too lazy to say it. After Bei Yunj left, the teacher of Class 1 had just walked in when she saw Teacher Wen's dejected expression. She smiled, unable to hide the flaunt in her tone. Teacher Wen, didn't I tell you not to work so hard? People should be more realistic and not ask for trouble. You're already in year 2. Are you still waiting for Bei Yunj to create a miracle for you? Bei Yunj was a person who was ranked in the last 20 to 30 places in the level. She was completely incomparable to everyone else. Why waste time and energy on such a person? I won't give up on any of my students. Teacher Wen said calmly. What the form teacher of Class 1 hated the most was Teacher Wen's arrogant appearance. He really treated himself as a role model in the industry. She snorted. Speaking of which, Bei Yunj and Qin Youjiao both retained a grade. But Qin Youjiao in our class retained a grade because she had a national tour and her results didn't fall behind. As for Bei Yunj, it was entirely because her results were bad and she was still delusional enough to think that repeating a grade could solve the problem of her results. Teacher Wen was right. There's still more than a year. What's the hurry? Teacher Wen said. The form teacher of Class 1 laughed coldly. Can a year change anything? Alright, then I hope that Teacher Wen can broaden my horizons. After school, Bei Yunj had just arrived home when she saw Grandpa Shin sitting on the sofa downstairs with his hands on his waist. Grandfather, what's wrong? Bei Yunj went downstairs. Old Master Qin reacted as if he had seen his savior. Can you help Grandpa with something? What happened? I made an appointment with my ward mate to visit him today. But my waist suddenly sprained. Bei Yunj. Grandpa, why don't you consider someone else? She was not a social person. It's fine. You just have to be polite. Bei Yunj couldn't refuse old Master Qin's request. She could only ask the driver to take the fruit basket and flowers to the hospital. Room 305. As soon as Bei Yunj opened the door, she saw a very young man lying on the bed instead of a white-haired old man. He was wearing a blue and white striped hospital gown, but it could not hide his deep and handsome eyes. However, his smiling eyes were distant. Bei Yunj's red lips curled up and after a while, she thought of a greeting. My name is Bei Yunj, the granddaughter of your ward mate. With that said, Bei Yunj still thought that she was quite polite. However, the man on the bed furrowed his eyebrows and spoke. Why are you here? Bei Yunj did not even look up. My grandfather asked me to be polite. Shang Yan was speechless. Chapter 495. Can you get me a glass of water? When Bei Yunj heard this, she glanced at Shang Yan and poured him a glass of water. Do you hate me that much? Shang Yan suddenly asked. Hate? Bei Yunj looked up at him and asked. You seem to be very unwilling to get close to me. Is it because of my leg? The man's voice was low and smooth, but his hand that was holding the cup was slightly pale. I don't have much patience for strangers. You do too, don't you? Bei Yunj laughed nonchalantly and chose a seat to sit down. She glanced at her watch and waited for 10 minutes to complete her mission and leave. At this moment, Shang Yan did not take the initiative to say anything. The atmosphere was a little cold. Your grandfather is a good person. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows lazily. You're all like this when you're old. Will you be like this when you're old? Not really. For a moment, Shang Yan suddenly understood how Nancy felt when she was stuffed with 700 yuan. She was also despised by others. After that, just as Shang Yan gave up on forcing a conversation, suddenly, Bei Yunj asked, "How long has your leg been injured?" "Several years." Bei Yunj glanced at him and did not say anything. "Don't you have anything to say?" Bei Yunj curled her lips. "Someone should have told you what I want to say." Shang Yan realized that this girl was indeed quite cold. She did not like to meddle in other people's business and never did anything unnecessary. However, he could tell that this girl's coldness seemed to stem from her being too transparent. But what had she seen at such an age to have such a personality? Her grandfather was clearly a passionate person. "Do you want me to learn to use a prosthetic limb to do rehabilitation?" Shang Yan asked with a smile. "You have to face a choice in life. Why should you choose the worst one?" Bei Yunj took an orange from the fruit basket and slowly peeled it. "But I might not live well if I go out." Shang Yan's eyes darkened as he clenched his fists. As a proud son of heaven, how could he be willing to be criticized behind his back? Bei Yunj felt that the old man's ward mate seemed to have a lot of psychological barriers. "What did you do in the past?" "Business, I guess." Shang Yan did not elaborate. Bei Yunj asked again, "Will your leg interfere with your work?" "I won't." Shang Yan laughed. "I'm the one who can't accept the strange gazes of others." Bei Yunj finally understood what the old man's ward mate was trying to avoid. However, no one would be able to accept this for a while. The more arrogant a person was, the harder it was for them to accept it. "Sir, you don't have to accept everything that others give you." Bei Yunj stood up when she saw that visiting hours were almost up. "But some things can't be changed. Why don't you change yourself and make yourself happier?" "I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first." With that said, Bei Yunj added, "Goodbye." Shang Yan could not help but chuckle when he saw Bei Yunj leave. If it were anyone else, he would really think that that person was just being polite and couldn't bear to see him sad. However, this girl wasn't someone who was willing to say such things. Furthermore, when he said the reason, he even saw a hint of understanding in her eyes. "Shang Yan, did someone come?" Nancy looked at the fruit basket strangely. "Yes, a very honest girl came." Actually, Bei Yunj's experience was quite similar to Shang Yan's. In her previous life, after Meng Liang committed suicide, everyone said that Bei Yunj had the genes of a lunatic. Even the teachers who liked her in the past were more afraid of her than doting on her. P.S. Top 25 on the monthly votes list, 2 more updates. Chapter 496. Therefore, that year, Bei Yunj practically locked herself in the research lab and developed 3 projects. In the same year, she was nominated for 3 awards. It became the most unforgettable year in the scientific research field. In the evening, Bei Yunj had just sent the score to Du Xiao and was writing the report when she suddenly saw a computer notification. Someone was trying to hack into her system. Bei Yunj glanced at it again and continued to write the report with her fingers. It was not until she had written more than 1,000 words that she saw that the person was finally about to break in. Bei Yunj snorted and saved the manuscript slowly. Then, she gave this person who was trying to hack into her computer a greeting gift. At this moment, in a financial center far away in our nation, the man, who was originally full of confidence, almost smashed his computer on the spot. He stood up with a livid expression. "Damn it! What's wrong, Hans?" The mysterious woman who often interacted with Qin Youjiao pushed open the door. The moment she looked up, she saw the man's furious expression. Elena's eyes darkened. It was her first time seeing Hans like this. "Did something happen?" Elena asked immediately. I was discovered. Hans's expression was terrible, as if he had suffered a great humiliation. What? Elena's expression changed as well. Hans was the #1 hacker in the country. Back then, she had recruited him into the company to protect the company's security system and do something. But how could there be a computing expert in a small place like Country A? Besides, she had asked Hans to hack into Yun's computer. Could it be that Yun also had a computer expert by her side? 228 Literature Network. Before Elena could think too much, she saw Hans's computer screen turn completely black. No matter how Hans operated it, the computer seemed to be broken. What's going on? Elena's expression did not look too good. It was her first time being played indirectly. That person is more skilled than me. She must have done it. At the thought that he had spent so much effort to hack into the computer just now, but in the end, he was played like a monkey, Hans almost broke down and cursed. At the same time, in the old mansion, Pei Yunj, who was checking what was on Hans's computer, found a secret folder. After the box was opened, Pei Yunj didn't expect that it contained the information of the Qin's group and some confidential business documents that could only be obtained by the internal department. Pei Yunj's eyes darkened. After thinking for a while, she opened another folder. But in the next moment, an image appeared on the computer screen. 2 white bodies appeared in front of his eyes. And they were all real men. Pei Yunj, she also wanted to scold someone. Suddenly, a low and lazy voice came from behind. Yun. Pei Yunj, who had always been smart and farsighted, felt a chill at the back of her head. She hurriedly turned off the computer in the most primitive way. She pulled out the plug. But in the next moment, his slender hand placed a plate of cut fruits on the table. Then, he smoothly pulled out a seat and sat down beside Pei Yunj. What were you looking at just now, Yun? Pei Yunj, in the past 2 days, Qin Luyan and the rest had frequently knocked on her door, causing her to simply not lock the door. But she did not expect such a situation to happen, watching a movie. Pei Yunj took a long time to mentally prepare herself before she dared to turn around and meet the man's half-smiling gaze. Chapter 497. It's a learning movie. Pei Yunj looked elsewhere. The man slowly picked up a piece of fruit and fed it to Pei Yunj very naturally. Huashidu's voice was lazy and neither fast nor slow. However, the words he said made Pei Yunj understand the meaning of being too ashamed to face anyone for the first time. Don't you wear clothes in learning movies? Some knowledge is not easy to learn with clothes on. Pei Yunj's tone was slow as she silently turned her swivel chair to the side. But in the next moment, the man's elegant arm grabbed the swivel chair Pei Yunj was sitting on and pulled her in front of him. Pei Yunj had no choice but to look at the man up close. Huashidu's slender index finger tapped lightly on the armrest of the chair beside her. His gradually deepened eyes were captivating and inexplicably aggressive. His low and lazy voice was frivolous and ostentatious. All right, then tell me, what did you learn? Some knowledge that I will never use in my life. Pei Yunj recalled the scene just now and felt that it was a little heavy. Huashidu did not expect to see this child peeping at such things. Seeing Huashidu's dark gaze, Pei Yunj could not say that she had coincidentally hacked into someone else's computer and saw it by chance. Hence, now, she regretted not destroying that person's computer. The information of the Qin group was in a second-level important document. Those messy movies were actually in a first-level important document. Pei Yunj licked her lips. Brother, did you see it too? Yes, it's all thanks to Yun. It's an eye-opener for me. Huashidu's tone was indifferent and no emotions could be heard. What do you think? Pei Yunj suddenly had a desire to know. When Huashidu heard this, his good-looking pale-colored eyes darkened. He lifted his head lazily and his low tone was inexplicably dangerous. Do you want to know? He had only glanced at the things that the little girl had placed just now. After all, a man with a normal sexual orientation would not have a good impression of such things. No. Hua Shidu looked at her for a while and suddenly smiled. Yun Yun, it's not good for your health to learn less. Bei Yunj, was this dog man talking dirty again? The next day. As soon as Bei Yunj left Hengda, she went to the computing institute. But when she swiped the ID card, Bei Yunj realized that something was wrong. The credit card machine was useless. Hello, how do I get in? Bei Yunj turned around and found that the old security guard was gone, replaced by a young security guard. Oh, the competition, right? Just show your face over there. I'm not here for the competition, Bei Yunj replied. Sure. Just show your face over there. The security guard nodded perfunctorily. Young lady, why are you being so stubborn? Hurry up, the exam has already started more than 10 minutes ago. The security guard couldn't help but urge her. She wasn't here to participate in the competition, so it was useless even if she swiped it 100 times. Bei Yunj stood in front of the face-scanning machine to appease the security guard. However, with a beep, the electronic door opened. Bei Yunj. The moment she entered, Bei Yunj saw Si Qingyan, who was wearing an ID card. She immediately walked forward. Si Qingyan, what's going on? Why can't I swipe my card? I drank too much yesterday and forgot about today's competition. I didn't have time to install the dual system, so I can only trouble the people in the institute. Si Qingyan admitted generously. Chapter 498. Bei Yunj suppressed her temper and said gently, then how did you get in? Work pass. Si Qingyan picked up the work pass in front of his chest. It was tied with a blue rope. He added, anyway, you're the only one who doesn't have a work pass. Besides, didn't you participate in the competition? Bei Yunj asked, when did I participate in the competition? After Bei Yunj asked this, she suddenly thought of that scam message. In that case, it wasn't a scam message. A few days ago, you signed up yourself, okay? Look at you, you won't even let go of a few million yuan. Are you human? Si Qingyan teased casually. Bei Yunj was silent for a moment before she glanced at him. I didn't sign up. Hearing this, the smile on Si Qingyan's face froze. He never thought that someone would resort to such tricks in front of Bei Yunj. It's impossible for your personal information to be taken from the computing institute. Then it's very likely that it's someone around you, Si Qingyan said. I know. Bei Yunj replied as a dark look flashed past her eyes. Is there anyone else participating in the competition? The person who signed her up obviously wanted to see her make a fool of herself. That Qing Zihuai from your school is also participating, Si Qingyan said immediately, his eyes flickering with excitement. It was obvious that Si Qingyan wanted to add fuel to the fire and watch the show. It should be him. Bei Yunj didn't doubt it at all. It's him. Si Qingyan was surprised. Hong Chongjin had sent so many students here just to get first place in this competition. Who would have thought that his student would be so stupid? She took the initiative to sign up Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj laughed and licked the corner of her lips. Yunj, why are you here today? Elder Zhong sent a message saying that there's a buffet hotpot and asked me to come over, Bei Yunj said slowly. Si Qingyan was speechless. Had this buffet hotpot already started to expand? Then I didn't even pay the registration fee, but I can get a few million. That sounds pretty good, Bei Yunj said leisurely. Si Qingyan was speechless. Qin beast. He seriously suspected that this guy was faking his age. There are only 74 people in total, and more than half of them are from your computing center. Professor Hong, are you really shameless? Zhong Xinglin always liked to say unpleasant things in front of others. You guys are amazing too. None of you came to participate. Hong Chongjin had a smug look on his face. What's the matter? Is the recruitment situation at the computing institute not good? Are all the people in our computing center? Zhong Xinglin sneered. After all, our computing institute has strict recruitment requirements. Not everyone can be admitted. The Computing Institute was an established computing institution, while the Ching-Chong Computing Center was a rising star among a group of computing institutions. Ching-Chong Computing Center's current recruitment situation was indeed better. After all, the Ching-Chong Computing Center had a living signboard, Ji Xingqing. He could be said to be the king of newcomers in the computing field. Elder Zhong, you haven't won the Busaka Award for several years. This year's Busaka Prize was missed by you and fell into the hands of Marcus. How are you feeling? Hong Chongzhen's eyes were filled with ridicule. In a place like the Computing Institute, the people who came out in the future were all mediocre. Other than Si Qingyan, had Zhong Xinglin brought out any talents? Elder Zhong, do you still remember how you looked down on me back then? Hong Chongzhen laughed as if he had vented his anger. Chapter 499. You'd rather choose a teammate who doesn't know anything than choose me. Elder Zhong, you're always making the worst choice. Hong Chongzhen could not help but mock him. Are you done talking nonsense? Zhong Xinglin could not be bothered to talk to him. I know that many forces are involved in your competition this time. I'm also very grateful that you didn't let Si Qingyan participate in the competition. Hong Chongzhen raised an eyebrow. So, our computing center is determined to get first place. Suddenly, a lazy voice sounded. Excuse me, where is the competition venue? Zhong Xinglin froze and slowly moved towards Bei Yunj. Why was this ancestor here? Did she know that Nance might come today? Why wasn't this ancestor hiding well? What are you doing here? Zhong Xinglin asked sincerely. Elder Zhong, didn't you ask me to come and eat hot pot? Zhong Xinglin was speechless. No wonder Nance did not appear after a long time. It turned out that he had sent the wrong message. He actually sent it to Bei Yunj. Zhong Xinglin immediately went forward and caught Bei Yunj, who was about to leave. What competition are you participating in? Bei Yunj showed the competition form that she had just printed to Zhong Xinglin. I signed up. Zhong Xinglin was speechless. No. He had been so busy that he had forgotten about Bei Yunj. If Nance saw Bei Yunj, Nance would have an air. He would be gone. Don't, this competition is not fun at all. Stay and eat hot pot. Zhong Xinglin quickly said, no, leave quickly, he could not let Nance and Bei Yunj meet. Wait a minute. Hong Chongzhen's tone was mocking. Why are you letting her go? The little girl wants to participate in the competition. Isn't it good to let her broaden her horizons? Bei Yunj turned around and saw a familiar old face. Hong Chongzhen. Ever since Hong Chongzhen mocked her in public last time, she had made this person into an emoji. As a result, Bei Yunj could see this face every day. Isn't this Hong Chongzhen? Bei Yunj looked Hong Chongzhen up and down, chuckled lightly, and asked casually. The smile on Hong Chongzhen's face froze. It was obvious that this was the first time he had been called by his name by a junior. Suddenly, his favorable impression of this girl fell into the negatives. Zhong Xinglin, is this your granddaughter? Hong Chongzhen's expression turned ugly. Zhong Xinglin felt that Hong Chongzhen had finally spoken nicely for once. However, he still rolled his eyes. It's none of your business. Since she's your granddaughter, we should see if Elder Zhong's computing talent can be passed down. Bei Yunj glanced at him casually. Zhong Xinglin took on the role and said angrily, my granddaughter's talent is so good that even the combined IQ of your 18 generations of descendants can't match her. Bei Yunj, the corners of her lips twitched and she could not help but glance at Zhong Xinglin. Hong Chongzhen's face also turned red and green. His gaze was so fierce that it looked like he wanted to skin the person in front of him alive. Fine. Fine. I want to see if she's talented. Hence, at this moment, Bei Yunj was personally brought upstairs by Zhong Xinglin. There were only 10 minutes left before the first round of the examination. The moment Bei Yunj pushed the door open, she saw that most of the students had stopped competing. However, Their ugly expressions did not seem like they had completed the competition with full confidence. Si Qingyan, who had returned after taking a stroll outside, was very surprised to see Bei Yunj. Are they really here for the examination? P.S. Babies, remember to move your hands, vote for them, and kiss them one by one. Chapter 500. Yes. Bei Yunj hummed in response. Those students who were not continuing the exam could not help but look back. They were especially curious about Bei Yunj. This girl was actually sent up by Elder Zhong himself. And more than half of the first round of the exam had passed. Alright, then choose a computer according to your seat number. When Bei Yunj heard this, she glanced at the seating chart casually and glanced at Qing Zihuai's column. At this moment, someone could not hold it in anymore. Teacher, Hong Mingyi cheated in the exam. The boy stood up and said indignantly. When Hong Chongjin heard this, he only glanced at the boy with a mocking gaze. Hong Mingyi was Hong Chongjin's son. He was 35 years old and had participated in the competition. This round is to test the hacking and attack techniques. The competition requirement is for me to counter the hackers. I didn't say how many there are. Hong Mingyi was immensely pleased with himself. Obviously, not many people in this competition knew how to hack. Hong Mingyi directly hacked the computers of the contestants who were not from the Qingchong Computing Center and widened the score to the maximum. This was very unfair to the other contestants. Hong Mingyi, Zhong Xinglin's face darkened, but before he could finish, Hong Chongjin interrupted him. Elder Zhong, Hong Mingyi didn't do anything wrong. Didn't you say in the competition rules that you can't hack other people's computers? Hong Chongjin was still smug. Qing Zihuai, who was in front, glanced at Bei Yunj and was a little surprised. Then, his expression turned sarcastic. He really did not expect Bei Yunj to dare to come. I'm really sorry, young lady. I don't think I have a computer left for you. Hong Chongjin turned around and smiled at Bei Yunj. 536 Literature. There was a hint of disdain in his eyes. Bei Yunj glanced at the computers over there. Other than the computers in the Qingchong Computing Center, all of them had been hacked. Even the computers that no one used were hacked. This doesn't conform to the competition rules, right? How can you interfere with other people's competition during the competition? Bei Yunj frowned and said to Zhong Xinglin. Si Qingyan, who was watching Bei Yunj from the side, was speechless. He had a feeling that this fellow was up to no good. What's wrong with that? Is there a difference? Hong Chongjin snorted with his hands clasped behind his back. In fact, Hong Mingyi did not have much talent all this time. It was Hong Chongjin who nurtured him with the best resources and conditions. Among his peers, he was not considered superior and could not compare to Si Qingyan. But compared to these young and inexperienced brats and girls, of course, they could only look up to her in the dust. Alright, although it's quite embarrassing, Bei Yunj nodded, and the troubled look on her face immediately disappeared. Even the corners of her rosy lips curled up. Then I'm relieved. Si Qingyan was speechless. Zhong Xinglin, he had a feeling that things were getting out of hand. Not long after, Bei Yunj chose a seat in the back row. Your granddaughter doesn't seem to be able to take the scare. Elder Zhong, it's time to bring her to see the world. Hong Chongjin's tone was mocking. Zhong Xinglin chuckled. Is that so? Hearing this, Hong Chongjin frowned instinctively. Then, he heard the sound of rapid typing on the keyboard. Even the contestants who had nothing to do in front and had their computers hacked noticed it. However, they could not see the person in the back row clearly through the computer. Is it that girl just now? Someone in front whispered. Chapter 501. But wasn't the computer hacked by Hong Chongjin? Someone could not help but whisper. She can crack it. Qing Zihuai, who was in front, could not help but scoff. Hong Mingyi looked at Qing Zihuai and could not help but ask, you know that person? I know her. She's someone who only knows how to put on airs. Qing Zihuai continued to crack the task at hand. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the people in the front row of the Chingchong Computing Center realized that something was wrong. Bei Yunj, who was in the last row, slowly took out a tissue and wiped the dust off her computer screen. At this moment, when Hong Chongjin saw this scene, he could not help but sneer. Zhong Xinglin, didn't your granddaughter give up too quickly? I thought she had. How capable. Before he could finish speaking, a surprised voice sounded in front. It's been cracked. My computer can be used. Mine too. F***CK, how did she crack it? What's going on? Immediately, the sound of a keyboard being smashed was heard. Who the hell hacked my computer? And mine. Cheng Zihuai looked at his computer that had been hacked. His handsome face suddenly turned colorful, and then a person appeared in his mind. Bei Yunj. But what was going on? Bei Yunj was an idiot. How could she know this? The discussion in front made Hong Chongjin's expression change. He instinctively looked at Bei Yunj, who had just wiped her computer screen in the last row. He looked up and saw that Bei Yunj's computer had returned to normal. Instead, all his students' computers had been hacked. But how did she do it in the time it took to say a few words? Come and read. Seeing this scene, Si Qingyan was almost overjoyed by Bei Yunj's actions. Too wild, as expected of. This student cheated. She cheated. Hong Chongjin said angrily. He had forgotten what he had said earlier. Professor Hong, this doesn't violate the competition rules. Didn't you say so? Si Qingyan was the first to join in the commotion. He had to thank his own student. Otherwise, Bei Yunj would not have signed up for this. You. Hong Chongjin's face was ashen. I'm really sorry. I saw a submitted result just now and it was accidentally erased. I don't know whose it was erased. I'd like to apologize to everyone. Bei Yunj apologized lazily, but her bright and beautiful face was filled with the words I dare you again next time. She was arrogant and impudent. The people in front of them, who had been controlled by the computer, were angry but didn't dare to say anything. They already wanted to set up a fan club for the immortal behind them. This little sister is too much. You. Hong Mingyi almost jumped up and fought with Bei Yunj. Just in case, he submitted his results first. In the end, it was actually wiped out. Si Qingyan was silent for a moment. He remembered that when he set up the program, it was automatically saved and could not be changed. This person was truly ruthless, Bei Yunj. You. Cheng Zihuai's face darkened. You even locked my computer. Shouldn't your computer be locked the most? Bei Yunj said slowly. Then, he looked up and glanced at Cheng Zihuai indifferently. However, that glance almost made Cheng Zihuai's back turn cold. Professor Hong said that if you're not as skilled as others, you'll lose. This is also a loss. Why are you angry? Bei Yunj snorted nonchalantly. Chapter 502. When Zhong Xinglin saw that this scene had indeed turned out to be unsalvageable, he couldn't help but cough softly. At this moment, no one realized that there was someone standing at the door. After 20 minutes, the contestants who had been locked up for more than half an hour had yet to complete this mission. They couldn't help but feel a little discouraged. However, they were all working hard to complete it. However, after another 3 to 4 minutes, they realized that something was wrong. Shouldn't the scores be automatically reviewed? Why hadn't they submitted the scores yet? Qingyan, what's going on? Zhong Xinglin looked at his watch and felt that something was wrong. When Si Qingyan heard this, he immediately explained, No, I set up the program to automatically. Before he could finish speaking, Si Qingyan suddenly knew who did it. Bei Yunj, who had already completed the mission, rested her chin on one hand and flipped through the documents. She looked back and saw a pair of clear and beautiful eyes. Her lazy and pleasant voice said lazily, Grandpa, give the children a chance. Zhong Xinglin did not have the rationality to think about anything else. This, Grandpa, made him overjoyed. Okay, Okay. Zhong Xinglin nodded repeatedly. Si Qingyan was speechless. Where is your future, old master? The #1 computing person in the country. The first Busaka winner in Country A. She called him grandpa, and he was even prepared to help her rob a bank. Si Qingyan felt more and more that his status was low. Old master's mentality of valuing girls over boys would one day pay the price. Hence, just like that, Hong Mingyi, Qing Zihuai, and the rest watched as the people around them obtained good scores after a delay of half an hour. As for them, they either did not finish the automatic review of their results or scored 0 like Qing Zihuai and Hong Mingyi. Dream Chinese. After this round ended, a few girls in front surrounded her excitedly. Big Boss's name is Bei Yunj. It sounds so good. Who didn't like an A-rated girl? After all, that operation just now was so handsome that it bent the sexual orientation of all the girls present. No wonder she was late and old Master Zhong personally escorted her. Big Boss didn't need so much time for the exam. I pretended to go to the toilet just now and saw the side of her face. She's so King beautiful. Do you know, that kind of appearance is actually real. She's someone who I like. Hearing that, the other boys became more and more curious. After all, it was rare to meet a girl who could make a girl like her so much. Therefore, a boy took the initiative to peek. Not long after, everyone saw him return with a rippling face. He made an okay gesture and clutched his heart. Okay, I'm gone. After that, the other boys were also very curious, so they all went over to have a look. In the end, their faces were filled with subtle ripples. Everyone, yes, it was confirmed. His appearance was definitely the highest level of attractiveness for both men and women. In the last row, Bei Yunj, who hadn't noticed at first, gradually noticed the subtle expressions on everyone's faces. Bei Yunj chuckled, but there was no warmth in her eyes. Are you all looking for trouble? Instantly, a boy behind him who wanted to come over to take a look at Big Boss Shen Yan felt his scalp go numb. He turned around and left at the same time as the god in front of him. Seeing that no one was coming over, Bei Yunj continued to play with her phone. But the people in the front row were still impatient. Did you see how God Pei played with her phone just now? This is the first time I've seen a girl wearing a tie so loosely. She's so cool and sexy. Chapter 503. The boys beside him were speechless. Back then, they had been scolded for wearing ties like this. Did the world care so much about looks? In the long corridor, Zhong Xinglin walked downstairs happily with his hands behind his back. Elder Zhong, why aren't you watching anymore? Hong Chongjin asked with a fake smile. Oh, you're talking about the competition. There's no suspense. It's boring to watch. Zhong Xinglin sighed and smiled gently at Hong Chongjin. Thank you so much, Professor Hong. You sent more than 30 students over just to let my gu crush them. You think you can crush them just because you say so? Hong Chongjin sneered. Although Hong Mingyi was not talented, the elite education he had given him for so many years was not in vain. This age advantage could not be replaced no matter what. It's been hard on you to teach your granddaughter hacking skills. Hong Chongjin chuckled, but his tone was filled with jealousy. Of course, Hong Chongjin knew that Bei Yunj was much more talented than Hong Mingyi. At Bei Yunj's age, Hong Mingyi had devoted himself to computer studies, but he could not compare to Bei Yunj at all. He knew that in time, Bei Yunj would definitely be more outstanding than Hong Mingyi. But at least, they had won this competition that they had to win. I didn't say that I taught her. Zhong Xinglin smiled at Hong Chongjin. However, when the results of the competition are out, Professor Hong, don't be angry and say that our computing institute cheated. You, Hong Chongjin sneered. Elder Zhong is as confident as ever and likes to joke. Our Qing Chong Computing Center won the competition. Why would we say that you cheated? Seeing Hong Chongjin flaunting his prowess, Si Qingyan really wanted to tell him back then that even an old man like you might not win, let alone your young one, alright? However, at this moment, Si Qingyan chose to remain silent. He only wanted to quietly watch how Hong Chongjin bragged. When Zhong Xinglin returned to his office, he realized that there was someone else in the office. It was Nancy. Zhong Xinglin was speechless. Why was he here? Didn't he not invite him to eat hot pot? However, when Nancy saw Zhong Xinglin, she excitedly held his hands and said, "Zhong Xinglin, I found it. I found that high school student." Zhong Xinglin had a bad feeling, but he still kept a smile on his face and firmly shook off Nancy's hand. "Oh, okay, you can scram now." "Nancy, did he eat dynamite, this old thing?" Nancy, who had been hiding in the back to watch the game, also secretly saw the name she wanted to know. "I really did find that high school student. Her name is Nancy. I'm telling you, don't even think about the people in this computing institute." Zhong Xinglin changed into a white coat and prepared to leave. "I don't want to." When Nancy heard this, she immediately exploded. "Zhong Xinglin, you tricked me. Are you interested in my successor?" He should have known that Zhong Xinglin wouldn't be able to find a successor after so long. It was very likely that he would strike first. Zhong Xinglin resisted the urge to scold him and smiled at him. "I've been digging for 2 months. Do you know? Who do you think you are?" "Nancy? Didn't you say that you were digging? What does it have to do with a high school student?" Nancy was halfway through her reprimand when she felt that something was wrong. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly votes. Chapter 504. No way, Nance clutched his heart in disbelief. "I casually scooped someone up. She's not even 20 years old." Zhong Xinglin was speechless. Those who did not know would think that Nance had invented a time machine to scoop up Bai Yunj. "She's a high school student. Why didn't you say so earlier?" Zhong Xinglin chuckled. "I'm already very tired from fighting with Marcus and Steven every day. With you, are we going to have a mahjong table?" Nance said. "Wait, what does this have to do with Steven?" Marcus was also in the computer industry, so he could understand. But why was Steven joining in the fun? Knows some biomedical engineering and gave Steven a research and development machine, so Steven believes that has the talent to learn medicine. Moreover, this guy seemed to really know medicine. Zhong Xinglin added in his heart. She didn't fake her age. Nance was silent for a while. Could a person really be so talented? Zhong Xinglin was speechless. Was Nance really not going to consider taking Si Qingyan in? Both of their brains were extreme and perverted. No. Zhong Xinglin rolled his eyes. If you want an heir, go back to your own country to find one. Gu won't go with you. He added, besides, Gu's family doesn't lack money. Nance was speechless. This wasn't good news for him. At the competition venue, Cheng Zihuai stopped when he passed by Bai Yunj. His voice was filled with uncontrollable anger. When did you learn computer science? How could she be a newbie if she could hack half of the computers present? The only possibility was that Bai Yunj had lied to him. She clearly knew how to use computers. Come and read. Suddenly, Cheng Zihuai recalled the last time he saw Bai Yunj holding a computer book. He could not help but clench his fists, his veins popping. Bai Yunj, do you think you can attract my attention like this, or do you want to take revenge on me? Cheng Zihuai's eyes darkened. There's no need to talk about revenge. Student Cheng's words are too advanced. What you're doing is called tidying up. Bai Yunj's lazy tone was still nonchalant. When Cheng Zihuai heard this, his face instantly darkened. You. He couldn't help but sneer. You think you're so great just because you won one round? Bai Yunj, don't think too highly of yourself. After that, Cheng Zihuai's face darkened as he walked forward. In terms of theory, Cheng Zihuai was the most confident. Even in the Qingchong Computing Center, he was considered one of the best. As for Bai Yunj, if not for her good luck, she would have been adopted by Director Lin. Where would she get the chance to get to know Elder Zhong? From the beginning to the end, Cheng Zihuai believed that all of this was due to Director Lin. However, until the next round began. After about half an hour, Bei Yunj tapped her index finger on the table. Si Qingyan turned around and saw the young lady looking at him with curved eyes. This was not a good thing. What do you want? Professor, I handed in my paper in advance. Si Qingyan held back his vulgarities and smiled insincerely. His voice was squeezed out from between his teeth. Can't you follow the rules? What did she mean by handing in her paper in advance? He had set the paper to be handed in an hour. She was changing his program again. However, on the surface, Si Qingyan saw the puzzled gazes of the other contestants and pretended that nothing had happened. Chapter 505. Everyone. She could hand in her paper in half an hour. Who the hell are you guys following? Then I'll get going first. See you later, Professor C. Bei Yunj said goodbye to Si Qingyan obediently and left. However, when Si Qingyan heard this, he felt that he had missed something. Next. Si Qingyan's footsteps followed his thoughts as he quietly walked in front of himself to check his results. In the first row, Bei Yunj's results appeared in front of him. First round, 100, full marks 100, second round, 100, full marks 100, third round, 100, full marks 100, total score, 300. Si Qingyan, he really shouldn't have had too much hope for Bei Yunj. She wasn't handing in her paper early. She was ending the competition early. The contestants present did not realize that someone had already ended the competition early. At this moment, Si Qingyan had already made up his mind. The next time there was a competition, regardless of whether Bei Yunj signed up herself or not, he would blacklist her. There was no point in holding a competition with Bei Yunj. Moreover, he had to prevent others from tampering with the examination system. Oh no, he couldn't prevent it. Si Qingyan was so angry that he gritted his teeth. At this moment, Bei Yunj was going downstairs, planning to reject Zhong Xinglin's hotpot invitation. However, the moment she pushed open the door, she saw Zhong Xinglin and a familiar old man eating hotpot. Bei Yunj, so, the buffet hotpot was secretly eating hotpot in the office? Elder Zhong. Bei Yunj couldn't help but call out. When Elder Zhong heard this, he was still holding a bowl in one hand and a pair of chopsticks in the other. He just stared at her in a daze. The atmosphere was subtle and awkward. Nance did not notice and laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, old Zhong, your beard is covered in hot pot soup. Zhong Xinglin slowly wiped his beard and coughed lightly. Why did you come down? This competition. It's over. Zhong Xinglin felt that something was amiss. So fast. Wasn't the exam time? I handed in my paper early. Bei Yunj added, I changed Si Qingyan's program. Zhong Xinglin. Oh, as long as there are results. Nancy. What was going on with this ignorant senior who excessively spoiled the child? Was he still Zhong Xinglin? Old Zhong, isn't your way of educating children a little too lousy? The system was tampered with because the person who made the system was incompetent. Why should I educate her? Zhong Xinglin said matter-of-factly. Fortunately, Si Qingyan was not around. Otherwise, his heart would shatter into pieces. Nancy, was this a normal player? Old Zhong, wake up. Not long after. Nancy turned her head and looked at Bei Yunj. Do you still recognize me, little girl? Bei Yunj looked at him for a while and suddenly remembered. She probed, 700 yuan, 700 Nancy. Yes, that's right. Old sir, you're here too early. I haven't received my bonus yet. Bei Yunj chuckled lazily. Nancy, did she think that he was after her bonus again? I'm not doing it for the bonus. I'm doing it for the air. Nancy was a little nervous. This was the first time in more than 10 years that he had such emotions. Bei Yunj glanced at Zhong Xinglin. She really did not understand what this old man, whom she had only met once, wanted to do. Zhong Xinglin took a deep breath. He is the head of the Higgins family in our nation. P.S. There are still 1 to 3 chapters. Remember the monthly votes. Chapter 506. Although he did not want Bei Yunj to go to country R, Zhong Xinglin knew the power of the Higgins family the best. Even if it had declined, it was still one of the 4 big families. Okay. Bei Yunj hummed in response before her eyes landed on Nance again. She let out a long laugh. Then the old master's interests and hobbies are quite special. At first, Nancy did not understand what Bei Yunj meant. But a few minutes later, Nancy realized that Bei Yunj was referring to how he did not want to be the head of the family and came out to be a professional scammer. Nancy's eyelids twitched. I didn't extort money from you. Did you use the money? Nancy's face did not turn red and her heart did not skip a beat. I used it. This time, it was Zhong Xinglin's turn to look at him. Little girl, you don't know how powerful the Higgins family is, right? Back then, they were almost on par with the Fernandes family and were one of the 4 big families in country R. But Bei Yunj glanced at him and said casually, but is fate not good now? Nancy, sure, sometimes this girl was quite annoying when she was smart. As long as you come back to country R with me, I'll help you solve the internal conflict. As for the other problems, I'll slowly teach you how to deal with them. Nancy could not help but say. Sir, it's impossible for me to emigrate. Bei Yunj frowned without batting an eyelid. My name is Nancy, Nancy emphasized. Bei Yunj nodded. Anything is fine. I'm curious. Why are most of the top researchers in your country unwilling to emigrate? Nancy asked with a frown. In their country, they followed the interests of their country. One had to know that the welfare of country R was far better than that of country A. Bei Yunj played with the glass ball in his hand and smiled. Our ancestors were patriotic and exchanged their lives for too many things. Just like in her previous life, her mother, Meng Liang, and her teacher were arrested by a neighboring country for 7 months and were not allowed to return to the country. They missed the grand slam of the physics award in the scientific research field. But later on, when people talked about Meng Liang, other than emotional disputes, they still said that she was the most beautiful woman of her time. The achievements in the history books would never be erased. Zhong Xinglin, who was beside her, unconsciously glanced at Bei Yunj, feeling a little comforted. Fortunately, this child was brought up by Director Lin. Otherwise, if he were to be picked up by someone else, the country would lose a lot of talents. I have to say, your continent's patriotic education is very good. Nancy nodded, but looked a little disappointed. Nancy, calm down. Think about it, is Director Lin Lanjuan's daughter. She won't let you bring her to country R. Zhong Xinglin comforted him. Nancy. Why Lin Lanjuan's daughter again? Because was accidentally taken away when she was young. It was Director Lin Lanjun who picked her up and brought her home. Nancy, there was actually such an unorthodox method. Even if it's not Lanjun, it's still me. It's not your turn. Zhong Xinglin patted Nancy's shoulder. Okay, I'll go first. Elder Zhong, Elder Nancy, talk to you next time. Bei Yunj looked at the time and left. At this moment, looking at Bei Yunj's back, Zhong Xinglin felt refreshed. What's wrong, Cece? Don't mind it. Even if is not your successor, she will be my successor. We will have a chance to meet in the future. Zhong Xinglin couldn't hide the smug look on his face. Unexpectedly. At this moment, Nancy asked calmly, who said that only Bei Yunj can immigrate? Chapter 507. Wait, what do you want to do? Zhong Xinglin suddenly had a bad premonition and asked calmly. The last time he had such a premonition was when Nancy brought Neely University to file an administrative lawsuit, Anyway, I'm going to be Bei Yunj's teacher soon. What's the big deal about migrating? Nancy said nonchalantly. Zhong Xinglin felt that these foreigners were too open-minded. Was this the modern version of, if the mountain doesn't come to me, I'll come to the mountain? Are you sure country R agrees to let you go? Nancy chuckled. Why do I need others to agree? Don't the people in your country have a saying that, first try peaceful means before resorting to force? Zhong Xinglin was speechless. He finally understood. If country R didn't agree to Nancy's change, Nancy would change it herself. Actually, many researchers had signed agreements with the country, so it was impossible for them to migrate. But unfortunately, Nancy never signed such things. To Nancy, freedom was more important than life. Wait, when did Gu agree to be your student? Nancy said self-righteously, but she's not your granddaughter. How could he not know if Zhong Xinglin had a granddaughter? Zhong Xinglin gritted his teeth in anger. Then Higgins, the Higgins family is deeply rooted in Nili. If they move to Yuncheng, they will only be more vulnerable. Just set up a headquarters in Yuncheng. Nancy's mind was very agile. But Nili, before Zhong Xinglin could finish, Nancy interrupted, someone needs to settle Bei Yunj's matter in Nili, but I can't. Gu hasn't agreed to be my student yet. In this way, I can only spend time convincing Shang Yan. After all, Shang Yan's management talent was better than Nancy's. Zhong Xinglin was speechless. What else could he say? Was there anyone more shameless than Nancy? Wonderful. She had even paved a way out for him. Everything was ready. All that was left was Bei Yunj, the next day. In the hospital. Bei Yunj had just paid the bill and helped Director Lin to the ward. Gu, I can do it myself. Hurry up and go to class. Director Lin smiled, but he didn't seem to be in good spirits. Bei Yunj glanced at the hospital list casually. Director Lin, please let me go. Go to the ward and lie down first. I'll bring you some porridge after your injection. What can happen to me in the hospital? You're so stubborn. Bei Yunj replied, yes, you've taught her well. Director Lin, helpless, Director Lin could only take off his shoes and lie on the bed first. When the nurse next to them saw this loving scene, she couldn't help but cover her mouth and chuckle. Granny, are you Director Lin Longjun? The nurse suddenly noticed the name. Yeah. Director Lin was a little shy and embarrassed. That's great. My boyfriend is the doctor in charge of this hospital. He's also a student of Yun University. The nurse's eyes lit up. Hello, can I trouble you to take care of my Lin Yuan? I have to go out for a while. Bei Yunj glanced at his phone. It was Teacher Wen calling. He looked up at the nurse and asked with curved eyes, yes, yes. After Bei Yunj left, the nurse realized that this young lady looked even better up close. Wait a minute, wasn't this the eldest daughter of the Qin family? She actually had such godly looks. Chapter 508. Director Lin didn't expect it either. She actually saw a young lady making pink bubbles in front of her granddaughter, in the long corridor of the hospital. Bei Yunj picked up the call and said in a relaxed tone, Teacher Wen, what's wrong? Teacher Wen was silent for a long time. Do you know what day it is today? Bei Yunj. Happy birthday. Teacher Wen's head was about to split open. Bei Yunj, today's the monthly exam. What are you busy with? My grandma is at the hospital. I just finished her registration and took an X-ray. When Teacher Wen heard this, he immediately understood. So Director Lin is sick. Is she okay now? She's fine. Then why don't you come in the afternoon, Teacher Wen, I'm really sorry. Please help me apply for leave. I'm going to buy breakfast. With that said, Bei Yunj hung up the call. Along the way, many people couldn't help but size up Bei Yunj. This made Bei Yunj unconsciously pull down her hat and stand in the corner. It was not until she bought breakfast and Bae Yunj personally fed Director Lin porridge that she realized that someone was sitting on the chair beside her. Old Master Chin saw this scene and felt inexplicably jealous and heartbroken. Seeing how Bae Yunj took care of Director Lin, one could imagine how well Director Lin treated Bae Yunj back then. But it also meant how important Director Lin was in Bae Yunj's heart. Otherwise, his wouldn't skip class and take care of Director Lin in the hospital. "Grandpa, why are you here?" Bae Yunj was a little surprised. Old Master Chin immediately wiped his tears. His muddy eyes were still slightly red as he hid his self-blame. "God of Dance ebook, oh, I came to see Director Lin." "You must be Old Master Chin. I often hear Gu mention you." Director Lin smiled. "Yes." Old Master Chin nodded. "I'm really sorry. It's our first time meeting so hurriedly." Director Lin smiled and shook her head. Go for the exam. I'll take care of Director Lin. I have something to discuss with Director Lin." Bae Yunj subconsciously looked at Old Master Chin. After a short silence, she said, "Okay." After Bae Yunj left, Old Master Chin was silent for a moment before he turned his head and smiled gently at Director Lin. "Principal Lin has a son." "Yes." Old Master Chin nodded. But until now, he hadn't seen Principal Lin's son. He roughly understood what was going on. "If Principal Lin doesn't mind, why don't you stay at the old residence?" This way, felt more at ease. "This morning, when this child went out, I didn't even see his shadow. I was really scared." This was also Old Master Chin's request as a grandfather. "I'm sorry, Elder Chin. This is my fault. It has nothing to do with Director Lin was about to explain when she heard Old Master Chin say, "It's only right for her to be filial to you because you're the one who raised her. I also love very much. I see her as the apple of my eye." Therefore, he also hoped that Director Lin would agree to let the Chin family do something for This way, won't be worried. "Hengda. Teacher Wen, what's going on with Bae Yunj? I didn't even see her come to the examination hall." The form teacher of Class 1 said sarcastically. It was obvious that she was here to laugh at Class 7. "Director Lin is sick," Teacher Wen said lightly. Chapter 509. Teacher Wen, even if Bae Yunj doesn't come this time, the school will continue to pursue the matter. "You can stop dreaming." The form teacher of Class 1 snorted. "There's no need for others to worry about Class 7. I'll take good care of my students." Teacher Wen was starting to worry about Bae Yunj's situation. He didn't know if the Chin family could convince Bae Yunj to participate in the monthly exam. Because something had happened with the language paper, the first exam in Hengda was mathematics. The second exam was foreign language. Just as the foreign language listening test started, Bae Yunj had already swiped her card and entered the school. When the listening test was about to end, Bae Yunj went upstairs and bumped into Teacher Wen. "Bae Yunj, you're finally here." Teacher Wen was anxious. "I've already finished listening to the listening test. What should I do?" Forget it. Hurry up and go in." Bae Yunj was directly pushed into the examination hall, attracting the attention of all the students and teachers. "Teacher, I forgot to bring my pen." Bae Yunj turned her head and said. Teacher Wen at the door, the invigilator inside. She was already late for the second exam, but she actually forgot to bring her pen? A few minutes later, Teacher Wen took the pencil that he had personally sharpened for Bae Yunj, took 2 pens, and stuffed them into her hands. "Hurry. Bae Yunj took the pen and sat in the front row. Then, she began to write the listening answers smoothly. This scene shocked the invigilator. This student had just arrived and the listening test had already ended. So, was she blindly filling in the listening answers? The invigilator didn't disturb Bae Yunj. Instead, he continued to patrol the other students. China Library. As expected, the candidate in the last examination hall had no intention of cheating at all. After all, the highest score in this examination hall was also the last. After 2 days, the monthly exam was over. Lu Yuanxi walked in front of Bei Yunj. How was it? What was the most choice among all your multiple choice questions? D. Bei Yunj chewed gum and lazily packed her things. Really? Then I'll definitely do well this time. Lu Yuanxi was so happy that he looked like a fool. When the people around him heard this, they couldn't help but sneer. They were already in the examination hall, yet they still managed to do well. Especially the students from Class 1. Even though their grades were equally bad, they still had a sense of superiority. Tisk, Class 7 can even compare their grades with Bei Yunj. Our class has always looked for Guo Moran and Qin Youjiao. Do you really need that little achievement of yours? Lu Yuanxi's black eyes casually swept over them. This made the three of them angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. After all, Lu Yuanxi was the school bully. In the entire examination hall, Class 7 had the most students. If he tried to force it, he would be courting death. What's so great about that? I want to see what the highest score of Class 7 is. With that, the three of them left. Lu Yuanxi also glanced at Bei Yunj bitterly. It was impossible for Bei Yunj to be in the top 10. She had even missed an exam, and it was Bei Yunj's forte. However, when they went out, Lu Yuanxi saw that Bei Yunj had been silent and thought that Bei Yunj was sad because she had missed out on the top 10. Don't be unhappy. Everyone definitely didn't do well this time. After all, this exam is so difficult, Lu Yuanxi comforted. After all, in the past 2 days, even those people from Class 1 had been talking about how the exam this time was like hell. Chapter 510. It was a tradition that Hengda would invite the college entrance examination teachers to come up with questions during the second year of high school. It was called a loving education for the children who were about to enter the third year of high school. And in this monthly exam every year, everyone's average score would not be more than 90. It was also very cruel. However, Bei Yunj was silent for a moment and looked at Lu Yuanxi. Is this question very difficult? Yes, you didn't see that there was a student in Class 1 who couldn't stand the pressure and cried in the office. Bei Yunj was speechless. The results this time are very good. After I finish marking these brats' papers, I'll treat everyone to a drink. The person who spoke was the new math teacher of Class 7. Obviously, he was very happy to see these depressed students. This math question was set by his cousin and the physics question was set by the god in his cousin's school. It was said that the questions were more ruthless than Huang Qishan's. My students are crying and you still want to go out for a drink? The teacher of Class 1 did not look very good. This group of brats are usually so arrogant and don't take the students of other schools seriously. The topic this time is to make them cry once and make them work harder. The math teacher did not care at all. Teacher Wen silently marked the papers. Teacher Wen, what do you mean by not saying a word? Do you know that there's a top math student in your class? The math teacher teased him. What? Everyone in the office said in unison. They were in disbelief. Chu Zhixing. Teacher Wen asked. You guessed right. The math teacher nodded. This child is very talented. I don't know what medicine he took recently, but the speed of his improvement is frightening. Hearing this, Teacher Wen thought of how Bei Yunj usually taught Chu Zhixing how to do questions and did not say anything. But he could not help but feel annoyed. This time, if there were no problems with the language paper and the second round was math, Bei Yunj might be able to catch up. Tian. He might even be able to get into the top 50. At this moment, a teacher who was marking a foreign language paper suddenly burst out with a curse. This made the atmosphere strangely cold. Teacher Lu. Teacher Wen called out tentatively. No, nothing. The first person I got a perfect score in listening was actually in the last examination room. Bei Yunj, the math teacher asked. In this entire examination room, he only remembered Bei Yunj. Teacher Wen said, "Impossible. I sent her in for the exam. She wasn't finished listening at that time." Then, the atmosphere fell into a strange silence. "That's strange. I didn't meet anyone who scored full marks in the first examination hall." Halfway through his words, Lu Laoshi cursed in shock. The teachers, even though Lu Laoshi was known to be the most virtuous of the teachers, he had never heard of her scolding anyone. Great, his fantasy had been shattered. "What's the matter?" Teacher Wen's, "I got another perfect score for listening comprehension." The teachers? Was this year's last exam venue magical? No one had scored full marks in the first examination hall, but there were 2 who scored full marks in the last examination hall. The next day, after the teachers of Hengda High School recorded all the results, they held a self-criticism meeting. "What the hell is that? The first and second place in foreign language are both in class 7? Wait, why is my first place in Chinese also in class 7? Chapter 5:11. When everyone heard this, they trembled all over. Then, they slowly lowered their heads stiffly and saw the first place in the top 10 in the science exam. Class, Year 2, 7, name, Bei Yunj, total science score, 300, ranking, 1. Everyone? It was this person again. Everyone reacted and immediately checked Bei Yunj's other results. Chinese, 148, foreign language, 150, mathematics, 0 overall ranking, 2 in Chai. The mathematics teacher almost couldn't help but curse. "What's going on with Bei Yunj? Only I scored 0 in my subject." Teacher Wen was pulled back by the mathematics teacher's voice and immediately explained she took a leave of absence and only came back for the foreign language exam. But when she arrived at the examination hall, the listening exam was already over. The invigilator of Bei Yunj's foreign language exam was next to him. He had a very good impression of this student and his voice trembled slightly. "I saw her sit down with my own eyes and finish the listening exam very quickly. I thought she was writing blindly. This was because she saw that the other students' answers were quite different from Bei Yunj's. But now that she thought about it, that was the last examination hall. How many people could get the same answer as the listening exam? Now, a thought popped up in everyone's minds. This student had memorized such a long foreign language on the way here. What kind of brain was this? Impossible. This is cheating. The form teacher of class 1 immediately said with an ugly expression. Enough. The principal glanced at her coldly. As a teacher, you should have the demeanor of a teacher. If it had been at the beginning, no one would have believed it. But last month, Bei Yunj was chosen by the mathematics professors of Nili University and Yun University at the same time. She also won first place in the competition last month. This student was indeed too strange. But Bei Yunj was only at the middle and lower levels in that kind of school. Hengda is the top high school in Yuncheng. How could she? Principal, I can guarantee as the form teacher of class 7 that this child won't cheat, Teacher Wen immediately said. Zhao Yi held a porcelain cup in his hand and nodded. I can also guarantee for my class representative that her memory is indeed very good. Last time, she skipped my evening self-study session. I asked her to copy the entire physics book, and she was able to recite it the next day. Moreover, Zhao Yi suspected that Bei Yunj was lying to him. After all, who could finish copying a physics book in a day? He was just trying to scare her. In the end, the next day, Bei Yunj stood in front of him and said that the things she had copied were gone. She decided to start memorizing the contents of the physics textbook in front of him. This also shocked the grade 12 teachers in the same office. After living for so long, one could see all kinds of scenes. I'm also willing to vouch for Bei Yunj, even though this guy scored a 0 in mathematics. The mathematics teacher smiled slightly, unable to hide the chilliness in his tone. The homeroom teacher of class 1 was so angry that his face turned ugly. Alright, don't talk about things that you don't have evidence for. It's terrible. The principal said calmly. As long as Bei Yunj didn't cause any trouble for him, he would turn a blind eye to it. After the results came out, Class 1 was still the happiest. Is the first place Yojiao or Moran? Someone could not help asking. When Qin Yojiao came over, she heard the teachers in the office discussing Gua Moran's score. Her total score was 625 points. She was more than 20 points higher than her. It was her fault for being too concerned about the Heart International Association during this period of time. The exam this time was also difficult. Chapter 5:12. Qin Yojiao took a deep breath and said to everyone with a smile, Moran, right? I only got 600 points. To Qin Yojiao, this was indeed a new low in history. Yojiao, I heard from the teacher that you're second in the cohort. Everyone did very badly this time. Someone smiled coquettishly at Qin Yojiao. That's right, that's right. Yojiao, your worst score is 600 points. But how long will it take for me to reach 600 points? Second in the cohort. A dark look flashed past Qin Yojiao's eyes and she heaved a sigh of relief unconsciously. Actually, before this, she was also a little concerned about this monthly exam because Bai Yunj had gotten first place in the competition last time and was fancied by a professor of Yun University. But now, it seemed like she was thinking too much. That's right. There are too many people who failed this time. You have a solid high score. However, Moran is also amazing. She got first place and scored 625 points. After the girl was done being envious, she said, however, the third and fourth place this time aren't in our class. It's quite strange. Hearing this, Qin Yojiao only smiled. She did not care about those people who did worse than her. Suddenly. Yojiao, Senior Cheng is looking for you. The voice at the door sounded and the students inside started to jeer. Qin Yojiao glanced at them coquettishly and immediately walked out. Zihuai, why are you looking for me? This is the monthly exam paper I finished. Hengde is still as ruthless as ever. I calculated and only got 725 points. Cheng Zihuai handed the paper that he had already corrected to Qin Yojiao, 725 points. That's very impressive. Our highest score is only 625. Senior is indeed the best, Qin Yojiao said with a smile. You still have more than a year to surpass me. I didn't score much in this month's exam either, Cheng Zihuai said with a smile. Then how much did you score back then? Cheng Zihuai said, about 670 points. That's still very impressive. I only got 600 points. Qin Yojiao pursed her lips. Cheng Zihuai knew that Qin Yojiao had always been competitive and was very talented. Otherwise, ordinary people would not be able to get 600 points from Hengde even if they practiced the piano and reviewed their study materials. The exam this time is difficult, but the college entrance exam won't be harder than this. Study hard. I'll wait for you at Yun University. Cheng Zihuai patted her head. Once the International Musicians Association selection is done, don't forget about school. I know. Zihuai, it's good to have you around. Qin Yojiao suddenly looked up and smiled at Cheng Zihuai. How was the exam at the Computing Institute? Cheng Zihuai froze when he heard this. That time, he didn't even make it into the top 10. In the past, he thought that he was really talented. But now, he knew that as a researcher, this little bit of talent was not enough. Cheng Zihuai said calmly, I didn't win an award. Professor Hong Chongjin is very capable. Zihuai, as long as you work hard, you will definitely be able to do it, Qin Yu said with a coy smile. Cheng Zihuai took a deep breath and asked without thinking, how did you do in Bai Yunj? I don't know. I've never heard the teacher mention it before. Qin Yojiao's smile froze. Why, did you mention her today? That's good. It shouldn't be much. Cheng Zihuai felt at ease for no reason and his fists relaxed slightly. Class 7. What's with the people in Class 1? Isn't it just that the first and second places are in their class? What's so great about them? The boy who had returned from playing basketball said indignantly. The people from class 7 were even ostracized in the field. What's the highest score in our grade this time? The girl asked curiously. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly votes. Chapter 5:13. 6:25, I heard. Hearing this, everyone was silent for a while before someone asked unwillingly. Then what's the highest score in our class? The top student who had just given out the papers pushed up his glasses. Looking at the results now, it seems to be Chu Zhixing. 590 points. Hearing this, everyone was still silent. They did not expect the gap to be so big. A difference of 30 to 40 points, but the second place, Qin Youjiao, only scored 600 points. It's not bad to be first in our class, another person comforted. But other than Chu Zhixing, the scores of our class. Someone wanted to say something but stopped. Indeed. For some reason, Chu Zhixing's scores had been rising like a rocket recently. Suddenly, Teacher Wen stood at the door sternly and knocked. Where is she? Where did Bei Yunj go? Hearing this, everyone turned to look at Lu Yuanxi instinctively. Seeing that Lu Yuanxi was asleep, no one dared to disturb him. Teacher Wen couldn't take it anymore and walked forward to wake him up. Where did your desk mate go to fool around again? Can I control her? Lu Yuanxi was still asleep and said impatiently with a hoarse voice. Teacher Wen's expression darkened even more. Lu Yuanxi, get up. Lu Yuanxi was speechless. I don't think she came to school. Teacher Wen took a deep breath. Bei Yunj had really given him a sweet date and slapped him. She didn't come to school. Teacher Wen gave a fake smile. Let me ask. Lu Yuanxi called Bei Yunj and turned on the speaker. Where are you? I'm at the hospital. I'll go back later. With that said, Bei Yunj hung up. Lu Yuanxi narrowed his eyes. According to his experience of students skipping class to go to the hospital, he said, did she get her junior pregnant? He immediately dismissed this thought. Oh, no, she can't. Teacher Wen was speechless. Okay, I got it. With that said, Teacher Wen placed Bei Yunj's paper on the table and said to Lu Yuanxi, you did well for the foreign language exam this time. 147 points, second in the level. When Lu Yuanxi heard this, he could finally hold his head up high. Last time, she had failed the foreign language exam and had been laughed at by Bei Yunj for a long time. After all, he had grown up in country hee. However, now it was his turn to laugh at Bei Yunj. Then who's first? Lu Yuanxi asked casually. Your desk mate. With that, Teacher Wen left. Lu Yuanxi stiffened. F***CK, are you serious? Master Pei got first place in foreign languages? Everyone was shocked. Ling Jiwei's expression changed as a bad premonition arose in her heart. Brother Lu, quickly look at your desk mate's test paper. The others did not dare to look through Bei Yunj's things. Lu Yuanxi did not mind being beaten up a few times. He immediately picked up Bei Yunj's test paper and flipped through it. Language. When Lu Yuanxi's gaze landed on the test paper, he couldn't help but be stunned. Brother Lu, can you not keep me in suspense? Lu Yuanxi took a deep breath. His hands felt weak. Literature 148. Everyone, what the hell? Were they hallucinating? At this moment, Lu Yuanxi was still flipping through the papers for other subjects. Physics, 110. Chemistry, 100. Biology. 90, everyone, wait a minute, how much was the total? They were really hallucinating. It must be a hallucination. Wait a minute, Master Pei's score is 598. She's third in the level. Chapter 5:14. Someone immediately said excitedly, there's another paper, Brother Lu. Mathematics, let's look at mathematics. Let me look at mathematics. Lu Yuanxi continued to flip through the papers. When he found the marks, he fell silent. A moment later. 0 points. She missed the first paper. Everyone was speechless, it was too surreal. She missed the mathematics paper and came in third place. The mathematics paper was worth 150 points. If she chose C for all the multiple choice questions, she could get first place in the level. She copied it. She must have copied it. Many people in the class started to defend Bei Yunj, probably because they were familiar with Bei Yunj's temper. That's enough. Ling Jiwei, did you borrow her to copy it? Ling Jiwei looked embarrassed. You. That's right. We have a top student in our class. Isn't she bringing glory to our class? The class teacher and principal didn't say anything, but someone can't stand it. That's right. Someone goes to class 1 every day. Why didn't she transfer to class 1? Class 7 isn't good enough for you. You. Ling Jiwei looked embarrassed. She slammed the table and stood up. Then, she glared at them with red eyes and ran out. After Ling Jiwei left, many people started to ask about Bei Yunj's situation. Brother Lu, what's wrong with Master Pei? Aren't these results too sudden? Lu Yuanxi was silent for a moment. Do you remember that she was the only one who got the questions right in the last mathematics paper? Hearing this, everyone fell silent. So she had always been a top student. Then why did she do so well in the monthly paper? Could it be that she wanted the Qin family to donate a building to Hengda? F***ck, now that you mention it, if Master Pei were to take the math exam, wasn't their class the top student in the level? 117. Everyone was in disbelief. They didn't expect class 7 to have a top student in the level. Class 1. Or was it because of discipline? Because when the results came out, although everyone felt that it was bad, there were also those in class 7 who were worse. What are you doing? The vice principal walked in and reprimanded them. Class 1 didn't know how to react. This was usually the treatment given to class 7. When had the vice principal ever reprimanded them? Why aren't you studying? They're not as good as class 7. The vice principal pursed his lips, feeling very complicated. Principal Wang, the first and second place are from our class. Did they not do well? Someone was indignant. Even if their results were good and they wanted to suppress them, there was no need to say that. What kind of standard did the 7th class have? How dare they compete with them? The first and second place are from your class. Bei Yunj next door didn't even take the math exam, but she still managed to get 3rd place. Don't you guys have any sense of crisis? As soon as he finished speaking, the expressions of many people in class 1 changed. Not only Qin Youjiao, even Leia, who was in the top 10 of the cohort, looked up at the vice principal instinctively. How was this possible? How is this possible? It's impossible for the test paper to be leaked, and it's impossible for anyone to cheat. I hope you can reflect on why others are progressing so quickly. After saying that, the vice principal slammed the grade report card on the podium and left. Class 1 was a class that he had painstakingly taught, but in the end, they couldn't even compare to class 7. How could he not be angry? Soon, many people in class 1 gathered around to watch. However, when they saw Bei Yunj's results, their expressions changed. Chapter 5:15. Was this a matter of whether she improved fast or not? How is this possible? How can Bei Yunj get full marks for science? Someone could not help questioning. Hearing this, Qin Youjiao clenched her fists instinctively. She had flipped through Cheng Zihuai's paper just now and more than 10 marks had been deducted from his science paper. How could Bei Yunj get full marks? Qin Youjiao's eyes were filled with darkness. Impossible. How could Bei Yunj have such standards? It seems like you underestimated your opponent too much, Leia said calmly. Qin Youjiao was silent for a long time before she calmed herself down. She said, "No, I won't lose." As long as she worked hard to get a spot in the International Musicians Association, it would be useless even if Bei Yunj got first. Compared to the value of the International Musicians Association, this was not worth mentioning at all. Taking a deep breath, Qin Yojiao lowered her head and continued to solve the last few questions. After she was done with these questions, she would continue practicing the piano. She would definitely get a spot in the International Musicians Association and become an official member. When that time came, Pei Yunj would only be worthy of looking up to her. In the hospital, Pei Yunj had just changed the water for the vase. Gu, did you not sleep yesterday? Director Lin saw Pei Yunj holding a laptop early in the morning. I slept for a while. Pei Yunj placed the breakfast on the folding table that came with the bed. The hospital was in the city center and there was a lot of traffic outside the window. It was very noisy. Pei Yunj could not sleep in this environment, so she decided to improve the project overnight. Director Lin's heart ached for Pei Yunj. Pei Yunj probably came late last night, so Director Lin did not know that Pei Yunj was guarding her here. It was only when she woke up early in the morning that she found Pei Yunj sitting by the window. Go home and sleep for a while first. Apply for leave from school. How can you not sleep for the entire night? Okay, I'll leave after you finish your porridge. Hearing Pei Yunj say this, Director Lin had no choice but to eat the porridge first. After eating the porridge, Director Lin looked at Pei Yunj, her meaning obvious. Pei Yunj stood up and laughed leisurely. Okay, I'll go back first. Old people nowadays are quite cruel. Director Lin. Bring the umbrella over there, the sun is too strong. Pei Yunj hummed in response and opened the door with a small flower umbrella and notebook in her arms. She didn't expect to see the man waiting at the door in the corridor. His eyebrows were handsome and noble, and his pale-colored pupils were abstinent. He was leaning lazily against the wall, and no one knew when he had arrived. After Pei Yunj opened the door, Hoshidu turned around and their eyes met. He stuffed the silver lighter in his hand into his pocket. Yun is out. When did you get here? 2 hours ago. Hoshidu's thin red lips curled up. But I didn't bring a gift, so I can't go in. Grandma won't mind either. Pei Yunj closed the door quietly. She likes you very much. Really? Hoshidu's thin lips curled up happily. He walked closer to Pei Yunj and took the notebook from her hand very naturally. Wait for me to say a few bad things, then she won't like you so much. Pei Yunj said lazily with a smile. The man laughed casually. I like our union's ingrate too. Pei Yunj looked at him. Brother, are you here to take me to school? I'm bringing you home. Chapter 5:16. You're not going to school. Pei Yunj was quite surprised. She thought that even if she had a high fever, Hoshidu would still throw her to school. Auntie Meow has prepared some food for you. You can sleep after eating. Auntie Meow will come to see Director Lin later. Hearing that Hoshidu's arrangement was very reasonable, Pei Yunj stopped in her tracks and subconsciously moved her eyebrows. Where are we going? The corners of Hoshidu's lips curled up lazily and lightly. He pinched the back of her neck affectionately. Back to brother's house. Pei Yunj heard him say again, the old residence is far from here. It's closer to my place. Okay. Pei Yunj did not hesitate and did not sense anything wrong. Back at the Hua family home. Miss, you're finally back. Auntie Meow welcomed Pei Yunj with a smile the moment she saw her. Pei Yunj felt that something was not right. Auntie Meow, you knew that I was back. Yes, didn't Sir accompany you back to stay for a few days? Auntie Meow asked with a smile. This statement almost made Pei Yunj think that she was returning home with Hoshidu. Pei Yunj glanced at Hoshidu but did not say anything. The man was as calm and composed as ever, as if nothing had happened. Let's eat first, Hoshidu said. Okay. Auntie Meow had already figured out Pei Yunj's taste long ago. As a result, when Pei Yunj came back and ate Auntie Meow's cooking, she actually felt an inexplicable attachment. However, after eating and going upstairs, Pei Yunj realized that something was wrong. Brother, my bedroom is over there. Pei Yunj stood at the door and did not go in. When Hoshidu heard this, he chuckled nonchalantly and looked at her casually. He chuckled softly. If you don't sleep at my place, can Yunyun sleep? Bei Yunj, or does Yunyun mind? Hoshidu suddenly leaned closer. His laughter was low and hoarse, as if he was deliberately teasing her eardrums. His eyes were so dark that it was hard to tell. Bei Yunj subconsciously took a step back. No. Seeing the smile in Hoshidu's eyes, it was obvious that he was teasing her. Bei Yunj smiled. I'll leave after I wake up. This child is quite heartless. Hoshidu's sexy Adam's apple bobbed as he chuckled softly. Seeing that Bei Yunj's eyes were red, Hoshidu stopped teasing her. He watched her walk to the bed before gently closing the door. At the door, Tsingsu said softly, Master Du, do you want to rest for a while? This morning, you've been looking for Miss for a long time. Let's go to the company first. Hoshidu's slender and bony hand loosened his tie impatiently. He was typing a text message to inform old Master Qin that he was safe. Unexpectedly, a notification popped up in his personal account. Hoshidu clicked on it and saw that Qin Yu had pulled him into the group chat. Bei Yunj parents, there were already 4 members inside, and he was the 5th. Soon, a group member sent a message. Teacher 1, congratulations, student Bei Yunj. You are 3rd in the level for the monthly exam and scored full marks in science. Rose, Teacher 1, picture. The picture was the report card that Teacher 1 had taken. And this content caused an uproar in the group. Qin Lang. My girl. Qin Yu, this is my sister. Dumbfounded. JPG, Qin Luyan, not bad. After a few minutes of silence, the group chat was flooded again. The 3 members of the Qin family were giving out red packets in the group chat as if money was not money. However, Teacher 1 did not dare to accept any of them, afraid that others would say that he had accepted bribes. Chapter 5:17. Hoshidu did not say anything either. He only touched it lightly with his slender fingers and saved the report card. A few minutes later, everyone saw Master Du, who had never posted on his WeChat moments, suddenly update his status. Du, the little kid is alright. Picture. Not long after, the downstairs was filled with likes from his WeChat moments. Yu Hanran, damn, this ancestor scored full marks in science. She missed an exam and got 3rd place. I thought our Master Pei was a bad student. Yu Manran, come out and get scolded. Yu Manran replied to Yu Hanran, Yu Manran, boo-hoo, Master Pei is amazing. Qin Yu, brother. What are you doing? Qin Yu, who was backstage, saw Hoshidu's post and felt that Hoshidu was too immersed. This was Hoshidu's first time posting on WeChat moments. It was even rarer than his brother posting on WeChat moments. Qin Yu, who did not get a reply, put his phone back into his pocket. However, he wanted to find someone to share his intense joy with. After the recording, the female host habitually skipped the questions that Qin Yu disdained to answer. However, Qin Yu suddenly asked, why didn't you ask your usual questions? Hearing this, the fans present were extremely excited. Brother Yu had actually taken the initiative to accept a personal interview. Okay, then I'll start asking. The female host took a deep breath and revealed a professional smile. Here, the public is also very curious about your personal life, Best Actor Qin. Let me ask Best Actor Qin for everyone first. What kind of girls do you usually admire? The good-looking ones who can score full marks in science. Qin Yu's arrogant eyes were handsome, and when he smiled, a large group of women were attracted to him. However, these words were like a bucket of ice water that woke up all the fans. The fans were speechless. Do you know what you're talking about? This made the fans even sadder than Qin Yu saying that he was going to become a monk. The female host's expression stiffened slightly and she immediately changed the topic to his career. Then let's move on to the next question. What do you think is the reason for your career's success? My greatest success might not be my career, but having an outstanding sister in all aspects. Qin Yu leaned against the sofa lazily, smiling amiably. The manager below the stage, all right, another crazy one. A male artist who was obsessed with his sister was as dangerous as a public figure who drank fake alcohol for an interview. Hence, that day, the topic of the opposite sex that Qin Yu admired the most was trending. On the other hand, Qin Yu's fans started to doubt their lives as they started to browse through the science questions. Until the afternoon. Bei Yunj received a call from Marcus. Yunj, something happened to your brother's company. Hearing Marcus' anxious voice, Bei Yunj unconsciously rubbed her eyebrows. What? Your brother called me and said that the Qin group is in some trouble. 2 days ago, the security system was only attacked by hackers. The funds have been transferred today. Marcus was so anxious that his speech speed became faster. Transfer of funds? Bei Yunj was silent for a moment before she replied, okay, I got it. Oh right, Marcus, what was the name you gave me last time? He was afraid that Bei Yunj's career in the scientific research field would be affected because of the Qin Corporation. Marcus terminated the contract with the outside world and let Bei Yunj sign a contract with the Qin group with a new identity. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly votes. Chapter 518. Including the incident with the criminal gang last time, Marcus had also removed the name. Marcus was speechless. He knew that Bei Yunj did not care much about her matters, but he did not expect her to be so careless. Max. Marcus said helplessly, do you want to take a look? I'll go to the Qin family to take a look first. Bei Yunj changed her clothes and went out. She called Qin Luyan. A few minutes later. Qin Luyan's voice was filled with surprise and joy. What's wrong? Are you looking for me? Bei Yunj narrowed her pretty eyes and glanced at the traffic around her calmly. Her tone was calm. Can I come to the Qin family? Sure, I'll get someone to pick you up. Qin Luyan was a little surprised. No need. Just send me your location. After hanging up the call. The people from the technical department furrowed their eyebrows. President Qin, did something happen? Nothing. My sister is coming to the company. Hearing Qin Luyan's words, no one dared to speak. However, their impression of Bei Yunj could not help but drop. It was fine if a rich young lady did not know how to solve the company's problems. At such a critical moment, she still came to the company to play. Someone really thinks that the company isn't troublesome enough, an employee from the technical department could not help but mock. Mind your own business and don't let me hear any gossip. Otherwise, leave the Qin family as soon as possible. Qin Luyan's tone was cold. Everyone knew that President Qin seemed to dote on the new elder young miss a lot, but they did not expect it to be to this extent. The employees who were reprimanded also blushed. They were unwilling to accept it and did not say anything. Qi Lin, go and pick her up. Gu will be coming over later. Qi Lin was the closest person to Qin Luyan and would not go against his wishes. Yes. About half an hour later. Everyone saw the rumored real young lady of the Qin family. Her appearance was even more stunning than Qin Youjiao's back then. She was excessively beautiful. Her eyes were wild and bright, but there was indifference in them. Miss, President Qin is still dealing with some matters. He asked me to take you to his office to rest, Qi Lin said gently. Has Qin Luyan not been home for a few days? Bei Yunj suddenly asked. She had not seen Qin Luyan for a few days, but she did not know that something had happened to the company. There was no news at home either. It's been 3 or 4 days. Miss, please. Qi Lin smiled, but he was not close to Bei Yunj. I want to see him now. Bei Yunj said lightly. When Qi Lin heard this, he unconsciously frowned. He thought that Bei Yunj was a smart person and knew that she should not disturb Qin Luyan at this time. However, he did not expect her to have the temper of a spoiled young lady. Miss, you'll be a burden to President Qin if you go, Qi Lin said gently. He didn't hide the reason why he didn't want to bring Bai Yunj along. Bai Yunj looked up at him with a faint smile. I came here because I wanted to see him. In fact, Bai Yunj could tell that Qi Lin did not like her. Usually, everyone in the old mansion called her elder young miss, but Qi Lin did not treat her as his young Mississippi. If you don't take me there, I'll get him to come down. With that said, Bai Yunj was about to call Qin Luyan. I'll take you there. Qi Lin smiled, but the veins on the back of his hand were bulging. It was his first time being angered by such an unreasonable rich young lady. Haven't you found the loophole? Chapter 519. Qin Luyan's voice was emotionless as he looked at the technicians calmly trying to solve the problem. Bai Yunj entered and saw the bouquet of black roses on the table. Boss Qin, Miss is here. Qi Lin reminded him. Hearing this, Qin Luyan turned around. He did not expect Bai Yunj to come here. Bai Yunj scanned her surroundings, casually picked up the black roses, threw them into the rubbish bin beside her, and sat at the side. Can I play here for a while? Everyone's eyelids twitched when they saw that Bai Yunj threw the black roses away without even asking Qin Luyan. However, what they did not expect was that Qin Luyan did not care about Bai Yunj's actions at all. His low voice was even gentle. Sure. The staff of the technical department could not help but frown. What was going on with this spoiled lady who did not know anything staying with them? However, at this moment, Bai Yunj did not care about the people around her. She just turned on her laptop and lazily played Maps of the Gods. The technical department was talking. There must be more than one hacker who attacked us this time. I suspect that it was premeditated. Then should we find someone to help us solve it? Didn't Boss Qin sign a max? Hearing this, the technician who was repairing the loophole sneered. My master is an official member of the Chaosists. He has never heard of the name Max. The Chaosists were a hacker organization in our nation. It was currently the most powerful hacker organization in the world. But this is someone introduced by Marcus. He can't be bad. Someone retorted softly. He won't be bad, but he won't be much better either. That person's tone was arrogant. Then can you get your master to help? Qi Lin asked. My master's price for taking on an order is not cheap. And he won't take on orders easily. Qin Luyan said calmly, contact him. He can name the price. With that said, Qin Luyan looked at Bai Yunj. Seeing that she was playing Maps of the Gods, he did not disturb her. Which book website? After about 10 minutes. The arrogant technician became excited. My master has accepted the order. He said he's willing to help us. He added, I'll send him the information now. Hearing this, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there was still hope. However, after waiting for 20 minutes, Qi Lin received another call. His expression changed. President Qin, our company's website has also been attacked. It's completely paralyzed. As soon as he finished speaking, the technician, who was originally arrogant, was now inexplicably nervous. He immediately contacted his master. And at this moment, everyone glanced over and saw that Bai Yunj was playing the game. Their expressions immediately turned ugly. Miss Qin is still in a good mood at this time, the arrogant technician couldn't help but say gloomily. Who knew? Bai Yunj replied lazily, my surname is Pei. Zhang Yang. Qi Lin frowned and immediately warned him. Qin Luyan was still here, and he dared to insult Bai Yunj like this? As expected. At this moment, Qin Luyan glanced at Zhang Yang coldly. If not for Qi Lin's reprimand just now, Zhang Yang would have been in trouble. This time, it wasn't done by one person, another technician said. Obviously, they had been besieged by the hacker organization. Suddenly, Bai Yunj said slowly, have you guys eaten? Why don't you go have a meal? It's useless to sit here. Chapter 520. Everyone was speechless. Zhang Yang could not help but sneer. Are you mocking us? Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. No one noticed that her fingers were typing a command. They only heard her say slowly, please continue. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhang Yang wanted to continue but was suddenly interrupted by Qin Luyan. Zhang Yang, if you still want to stay in the company, you have to abide by your duty. Instantly, Zhang Yang's expression turned ugly, but he could only remain silent. At this moment, the other technicians also realized that something was wrong. This, our computer, why can't we move it? F*CK, it can't be. The faces of the technicians turned ashen. Then, Zhang Yang quickly made a call to his master, but the answer he got made his face turn pale. Boss Qin, my master said that this was done by a hacker organization, but he can't deal with so many hacker attacks. As for our computer, he doesn't know what's going on either. Can your master's organization help? No. My master is in the organization and his words carry little weight, Zhang Yang said softly. When everyone heard this, they became even more nervous and afraid. So, the Qin Corporation was finished this time. You guys go downstairs and have a meal first. Qin Luyan glanced at the two computers that could not be used and did not reprimand them. It was as if he had already known this outcome. When Zhang Yang and the rest heard this, they glanced at Bei Yunj with ugly expressions and felt inexplicably aggrieved. 12th Literature Network, but now that the computer could not be used, they would really be sitting there in a daze. After Zhang Yang and the rest left, Qin Luyan looked at Bei Yunj. What do you want to eat? I find them noisy. Bei Yunj did not hide it. Hearing this, Qin Luyan's eyes darkened and he said, you don't have to worry about the Qin Corporation. No matter what happens to the Qin Corporation, I will guarantee that you will have no worries for the rest of your life. After he was reborn, Qin Luyan had already transferred all his private assets to Bei Yunj's name. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Luyan's cell phone rang. He looked at the overseas number and his gaze turned cold with a hint of hostility. After he hung up, the phone kept ringing. Go out and pick him up. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, Qin Luyan thought that he had disturbed Bei Yunj, so he took his phone and went out. At this time, Bei Yunj closed the Maps of the Gods interface. While the entire corporation was in a state of anxiety, the hacker group that was attacking the Qin Corporation on the other side looked at their progress. They were clearly going to cause the collapse of the Qin Corporation soon. However, in the first 10 minutes, they could not continue to attack the Qin family. It was as if it was being locked by something, making people feel that something was wrong. This made them inexplicably flustered. They had a bad premonition. However, if the people from the Qin Corporation's technical department had seen the situation on the screen, they would have realized that their situation was exactly the same as theirs. Bei Yunj unwrapped a soft candy and slowly bit the tip of her tongue. Her gaze swept across the loopholes that the technical department had not solved, but she was not in a hurry. She adjusted the voice changer and her fingertips jumped on the keyboard as she started to lock onto the tracking device. At this moment, she clearly heard the conversation between that woman and Qin Luyan. President Qin, how have you been? Is your company doing well? Chapter 521. If you had promised me back then, wouldn't it be a good situation for us to win both Country A and Country R's markets? Elena smiled and said, I heard that you've terminated your contract and changed to someone else to protect the company's security system. I have to say, President Qin, you're really wary of me. Is Miss Elena so short of men? Qin Luyan took off his gold-rimmed glasses. The cold glint in his eyes was distant, and his eyes were refined and handsome as he asked casually. Just as expected. As soon as Qin Luyan finished speaking, Elena suddenly fell silent. Qin Luyan, am I not good enough? In this world, you can't find anyone who loves you more than me. Elena's tone was resentful. Be it in terms of looks or family background, she was clearly the most suitable candidate to be Qin Luyan's wife. However, when the man on the other end of the phone heard this, he only sneered lightly, but the mockery was very obvious. There was a cold glint in his eyes. Qin Luyan did not expect this woman to have the cheek to ask for love. In this world, the person he wanted to end the most was this woman. However, Qin Luyan's attitude made Elena furious. Qin Luyan, I know your ability. You can make the Qin Corporation grow faster in the future. But now, as long as I want to, the Qin Corporation will go bankrupt. When that time comes, you'll be nothing but a penniless cripple. As for your precious sister, I'll think of ways to make her suffer. Elena, don't court death. The man's voice was filled with endless coldness. I really didn't expect that the first time I've seen you so angry is for your sister. Elena laughed, her voice filled with bewitchment. In that case, Lu Yan, as long as you say that you love me, I'll let this crisis end quickly. How about that? It's also for your sister. These words made the veins on the back of the man's hand pop up. She continued to smile. The hacker you hired can't fight against a hacker organization. Suddenly, the girl who was eavesdropping on the conversation slowly pressed a keyboard. She leaned closer to the speaker and asked with a lazy smile, "Is that what you think?" After this voice was recorded by the computer, Elena and Qin Luyan heard another androgynous voice. Immediately, Elena froze, and Qin Luyan looked surprised. This person was the person he had hired? Who are you? Elena asked immediately, feeling uneasy for some reason. That hacker hired by the Qin family. Bei Yunji's eyes curved into crescents as she said lazily, "This is my first time accepting an order. If there's anything I'm sorry about, please forgive me." These words inexplicably made Elena fall into an unknown fear. Do you know who the hackers around me are? Don't worry, we'll know soon enough. Bei Yunji smirked and hung up the call. Not long after, she walked over to the computer that Zhang Yang had just used and started working. The data and codes in front of him were also constantly changing. This made the hackers who were originally anxious to unlock the computer suddenly see the computer being automatically unlocked. What's going on? What's going on? The internal hackers were having a conversation. They had never encountered such a problem before. They were inexplicably locked and inexplicably unlocked. It was as if they were being controlled by someone. Could it be someone from the Qin group? Chapter 522. Impossible, how could the Qin group know any hackers? Someone immediately rejected it. Although their hibernating Lion 173 couldn't compare to a top hacker organization like the Chaos, it was still a top-notch hacker organization that made people tremble in fear. Who dared to go against their hibernating Lion 173? I heard that the new hacker they hired was connected by Country R's Institute of Computational Technology. Could it really be, is a person whose name I've never heard of worthy of you making a fuss? That person sneered. Seeing that the screen had been unsealed, he continued to operate in disbelief. A dark look flashed across his eyes. Looking at the confidential documents of the Qin group that were about to be transferred out, his expression became even more excited. I've transferred the documents. At this moment, the bespectacled boy seemed to be elated, his eyes filled with contempt and disdain. Just the Qin group wanted to stop him. The others could not help but be surprised. Hans, how did you do it? Hans sneered arrogantly, isn't it just the Qin group? It didn't take much effort. As long as this document is sent out, the entire Qin group will suffer the most serious commercial impact. At this moment, many people heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Hans was here. Otherwise, their hibernating Lion 173 would have become a joke. I thought it was someone from the Qin group who invited an incredible god. Now it seems that we were alarmed for nothing. A few people mocked the Qin group, their eyes full of arrogance. Brothers, let's work harder. If the Qin group is destroyed by us, this will be another chance for us to become famous. At this point, everyone's blood boiled as they continued to attack the Qin group. Who knew? At the same time, Hans was about to send the document out when the computer started to lose control. His expression changed. What's going on? Hans's sudden exclamation made everyone who was still boiling with excitement stop what they were doing. New. What's wrong, Hans? Hans gritted his teeth. He didn't believe that he couldn't handle this matter. But who knew? Just as he was about to unlock the control, the screen suddenly turned black. A familiar scene suddenly appeared on the computer. 2 pairs of shoes, a bed, and 2 figures rolling on the bed. No, it's not like that. Hans's expression changed. His fingers kept typing on the keyboard, but the image became clearer and clearer. His voice grew louder and louder. Even the members of the organization he was talking to could hear him. What is this? The others were also shocked by the figure that appeared on their screens. Those who didn't know better would have thought that he had turned on some pornographic film. F***ck, why isn't it stopping? There were some people who didn't mind watching this, but there were also some who were horrified. He wanted to turn off this creepy movie as soon as possible. But who knew, no matter what they did, the screen seemed to be locked. They could only sit and watch the movie that confused them. Only Hans's face had turned pale. Not many people knew about his sexual orientation. He was also afraid that this matter would be exposed. But the situation now was very clear. That person did it on purpose. Not bad. In the organization, one of the middle-aged men who had long since admitted his sexual orientation had a particularly oily smile as he stared at Hans's white butt. Chapter 523. It can't be, how can there be such a good thing? Who is inviting us to watch the movie for free? A few members of the organization originally wanted to mock the person who did this, but they didn't expect Hans's face to turn pale bit by bit. Especially among the members, they kept commenting. This B***tch is really coquettish. TSK, I wonder what her name is. Even if I have to spend money, I'm willing to have sex with her. These dirty words made Hans's face turn red and green. After watching for about 10 minutes, the screen was cut off. Why are you not showing us after watching half of it? That's right. The members of the organization were still jeering. Unexpectedly, an unfamiliar voice slowly sounded through their earphones. Mr. Hans, have you heard the members' requests? As soon as he finished speaking, these members looked as if they had seen a ghost. Their internal conversation had been deciphered by someone. Who exactly are you? Hans's expression was ugly as he clenched his fists weakly. I accepted the Qin group's order. Hearing this, someone immediately said. It's Max. However, he had never even heard of this person before. How could he have such an ability? Max, do you want to go against our hibernating lion 173? Hans's tone was cold, obviously threatening. Bai Yunj slowly repaired the Qin group's system and said in a casual tone, it might not be impossible. As he spoke, it was full of arrogance and indifference. You. Hans's expression was ugly. Do you really think that I can't deal with you? As soon as he finished speaking. 187 The members of the group saw a sentence on the screen. Thank you, Mr. Hans, for dedicating yourself to art. So, the movie just now was actually Hans. Most of them in their organization had never seen each other. So they didn't recognize him. But now that they saw those words, they could roughly guess which one was Hans from the voice. The one who was pressed down, no one said anything. But Hans also saw those words and couldn't help but slam his earphones on the table. He had never hated someone so much in his life. Max. He remembered it. Hans gritted his teeth with hatred. His eyes revealed a fierce look as he began to transfer the Qin group's assets again. However, at this moment, Bai Yunj had already fixed the loophole in the system and recovered the funds that had been transferred. But in fact, not much of the funds had been transferred in the beginning. They wanted to use this to make the people of the Qin think that their target was those funds. Their true goal was the confidential documents of the Qin family. Once the confidential documents were leaked, it would be extremely beneficial to the Qin's competitors. The Qin would also be attacked from both front and rear. Hans's movements were very fast, and the way he attacked the system was also very tricky. However, he didn't expect that after finding 7 or 8 blind spots, he would be ejected in the end. But clearly, half an hour ago, these broken systems were like tofu to him, and he could easily crush them. But what's going on? Only 10 minutes had passed. How is this possible? Hans's face was livid. He gritted his teeth and said, "Max, are you deliberately going against me? Don't think that you're so great. Do you know that this circle is actually a battlefield? In this circle, there was bound to be someone who could deal with her." Who knew? Bei Yunj continued to operate. In the next moment, everyone's screen suddenly turned black. She suddenly curled her lips, and her voice was lazy and unruly. Battlefield? Isn't this my battlefield? Chapter 524. When everyone regained their senses, they saw that their computers had been destroyed. Their expressions changed. F*CK, what's going on? My F*King custom-made computer crashed just like that. Me too. What's going on? The shocked voices of his companions kept coming from Hans's earpiece. This time, he realized that he had really provoked someone he shouldn't have. Max, you really don't leave any leeway for others. Hans was extremely angry as he gritted his teeth. He did not expect that this person would use such a move to prevent the Qin family's confidential documents from being leaked. He did not consider that they still had other important information that was saved in the computer. Now, with Max's actions, all of it had disappeared with the Qin family's documents. That's right, so don't look for trouble with me. Bei Yunj curled her lips. Her tone was casual and playful, but she did not allow anyone to object. If you don't want to end your hacking career, then get lost as soon as possible. When Qin Luyan returned, he saw that Bei Yunj had just stood up. Are you ready to leave? Yes. Bei Yunj hummed in response. I'll send you off. Even though the Qin family was in such a situation, Qin Luyan was still more concerned about Bei Yunj's matter. No need, it's not far. With that said, Bei Yunj went downstairs and left. At this moment, those people had just returned from dinner and saw Bei Yunj leaving with a laptop. She's finally gone. Zhang Yang could not help but laugh mockingly. Alright, let's hurry up and settle our own jobs. After that person finished speaking, he was about to continue fixing the bugs. However, when he looked up, he was stunned. What's going on? Did the gods appear? What nonsense are you talking about? Someone looked at the boy in confusion. No. I'm not talking nonsense. The bugs are gone automatically. That person could not help but widen his eyes. This is too strange. This is one of the top 10 supernatural events. There are so many bugs. How could they be gone after we left for half an hour? As soon as he finished speaking, everyone could not help but lean over to take a look. Even Qin Luyan frowned and looked at the screen. Don't you think that not only are the bugs gone, but the security system has also changed? Yeah, it seems like someone has redesigned the security system. What's going on? The entire technical department of the Qin Corporation felt that this was the work of their ancestors. Otherwise, how could such a strange thing happen? The bugs were fixed, the funds were returned, and the security system was redesigned for no reason. It was too shocking. At this moment, only Qin Luyan had a suspicion in his heart. Just now, only Gu had been in the technology room. On the way back, Bei Yunj subconsciously hailed a cab and prepared to go home. But half a minute later, Bei Yunj realized that something was wrong. She had just taken a taxi and subconsciously returned to Huashida's place. Bei Yunj, uncle, change the route. Bei Yunj gave him the address of the Qin family's old house. However, the driver seemed to be someone who had seen a lot of the world. Young lady, you're thinking about your boyfriend. Why make things difficult for yourself? How many marriages and relationships have been tormented like this? Bae Yunj. That's not my boyfriend. When the driver heard this, he nodded with an expression that said, if you say so, then so be it. Bae Yunj thought for a moment. I just moved. Chapter 525. Then. As soon as he finished speaking, the phone in Bae Yunj's pocket rang. Look, is your boyfriend looking for you? The driver snorted. Bae Yunj glanced at him and took out her phone to take a look. It was Hwashidu. Bae Yunj's expression did not look too good, but she did not want to give the driver a chance to continue talking to her, so she quickly answered the call. What's wrong? The man's low and magnetic voice entered her ears through the current on the phone. Yun, where are you? I just left the Chin group and am about to go back, Bae Yunj said unhurriedly. The man could tell that she was not referring to him when she said she was going back. His low and deep voice carried a hoarse smile as he brazenly teased her ear. Then can you do me a favor? Bae Yunj, what favor? Buy something back. After Bae Yunj quickly memorized what Hwashidu wanted, she realized that something was wrong. If she helped him buy something, wouldn't she have to go back to the Hwa family? At this moment, the driver did not know what was going on, but he had already changed the direction of the car. He even looked at Bae Yunj with a subtle gaze. It was a little comforting and encouraging. Bae Yunj, did your boyfriend ask you to bring something back? Bae Yunj could not be bothered to explain and replied casually. When they saw the nearest supermarket by the roadside, Bae Yunj was about to get out of the car when she heard the driver instruct her again. It's okay for a little girl to be a little willful, but you must know how to coax people. Okay, Bae Yunj replied lazily. You are young and have plenty of time, but there are some things that you should plan early. The driver seemed to often share his experience with others. In the future, have you thought about how many children you want? The uncle's voice was a little loud. As a result, Lu Yunc and Chu Zhixing, who were teaming up with Bae Yunj, heard the commotion on Bae Yunj's side. Their fingers trembled and they fell into a strange silence. But in the next moment, they then heard Bae Yunj speak slowly and without hesitation. Let's start with 4 or 5 of them. 3 of them will work for me, 1 will be given to him to inherit the company, and the worst one will be sent abroad. Lu Yunc and Chu Zhixing. The middle-aged driver, did she think she was in a claw machine and could randomly grab a few dolls? When he got out of the car, the driver could not help but remind her, young lady, it's better to set a small goal first. Until the end of the team battle, Lu Yunc and Chu Zhixing were very proud. What strange things did they hear just now? Bae Yunj returned to the living room with a bag of snacks. As expected, the man was wearing a white shirt and black trousers, sitting on the sofa. Brother, did you want this? Bae Yunj asked with a half-smile. As soon as he finished speaking, Bae Yunj suddenly heard a childish voice and was pleasantly surprised. Sister, you're back. Bae Yunj lowered her head and saw a little guy running towards her. He was blinking his big eyes and looked extremely adorable. It was Mo. Beside him was an Alaskan who was rolling around. Mo, why are you here? Bae Yunj put the snacks aside, picked up Mo, and asked. Mo unceremoniously hugged Bae Yunj's neck and kissed Bae Yunj's cheek. She did not notice the gaze from somewhere. Mo missed sister. Didn't sister miss Mo? Chapter 526. Yes. Bae Yunj had never liked children, but she did like children like Mo. Then can Mo sleep with sister? Mo crossed her fingers and placed them under her chin. She had a cute pleading look on her face. Mo added, I promise I won't cause trouble for sister. At this moment, the man on the sofa glanced at Mo. His pale and abstinent eyes were a little cold. When he asked the old madam to borrow this child, the child immediately agreed when he heard that he could see Bae Yunj if he stayed with him. Along the way, he also promised that he would coax Bae Yunj to stay and not stick to Bae Yunj. However, the moment Bei Yunj returned, his true nature was exposed. "Mo," the man's faint and magnetic voice sounded. The moment he saw Mo lying pitifully on Bei Yunj's shoulder, Hoshidu realized that he had found trouble for himself. "You can sleep with sister." Bei Yunj put Mo down and took the bag of snacks that she had just bought. She held Mo's hand and went upstairs. She did not even look at him. Hoshidu was speechless. The next day, Bei Yunj was the first to finish breakfast and go to school. Only the two of them were left sitting at the dining table. The man wiped the corners of his mouth and asked casually, "Are you happy?" "Sister likes me. Why can't she sleep with me?" Mo snorted and seriously held his small spoon to eat his porridge. "Also, sister smells so good." As soon as he finished speaking, Sing-Su, who was waiting for Hoshidu, suddenly understood why the aura of this pair of brothers was becoming more and more strange. It was because little young master had slept with Miss Pei. Wei Chang. Sing-Su was a little surprised. After all, with little young master's personality, he did not like people who were not close to him touching him. Not to mention sleeping with someone else. Sing-Su, since Su-Shi has returned in the past 2 days, after picking Mo up from school, send him to his place to continue his lessons, Hoshidu said slowly. Su-Shi was one of the top perfumers in the country. Because of her good looks, she became popular on the internet 2 years ago. But Master Du sent the little master to Su-Shi's class just because the little master said that it smelled good. "I don't want that." Mo couldn't believe it and immediately refused. "Master Du, young master is still young, I don't think he understands." Sing-Su had heard from the people in the old residence that Hoshidu had been gifted since he was young. He learned everything properly and understood everything with just a hint. However, the young master did not have this talent. Other than mathematics, it was very difficult for him to learn anything else. Hoshidu said nonchalantly, "You have to learn if you don't know. Don't send him back before 8. Sing-Su, at this moment, Mo was stunned. He was still young and did not understand what a tool man meant. Bei Yunj was relieved to see Hoshidu's message telling her that Director Lin had been brought to the Qin family's old residence. Subsequently, he had just returned to Hengda. Bei Yunj was called to the office by Teacher Wen. "What's wrong, Teacher Wen?" Hearing Bei Yunj's voice, Teacher Wen took a deep breath. "Your monthly exam. What's going on? Didn't you want me to do better?" Bei Yunj glanced at him. "Teacher Wen, that was the situation, but this was better. Wasn't it a little beyond his imagination?" Chapter 527. Seeing Teacher Wen's excited expression, Bei Yunj felt a sense of déjà vu. She also had an inexplicable sense of familiarity and a bad feeling. In the afternoon, Bei Yunj looked at the information Teacher Wen had just given her and fell silent. "Master Pei, are you and Brother Chu going?" Lu Yuanxi glanced at Bei Yunj and Chu Zhixing's information and couldn't help but look resentful. This was the information of Yunqing University's special class. This special class had only been held in the past 3 years. The person who got first place could have their scores reduced by 60 points, and the second and third places could have their scores reduced by 40 and 20 points. However, this kind of thing was meaningless to Bei Yunj. Only old one can think of this. Bei Yunj threw the things on the table without any interest. "But Master Pei, if you go to the special class, you can skip class openly in the future," Chu Zhixing said straightforwardly. When Bei Yunj heard this, she raised her eyebrows and looked at this special class seriously. The corners of her lips curled up unconsciously. "However, isn't this special class an elimination system? Do we have to compete?" Lu Yuanxi asked. Chu Zhixing was silent for a moment. "Do you think she can be eliminated?" Lu Yuanxi, sorry to disturb him. He was thinking too much. Suddenly, Chu Zhixing remembered and said, "Oh right, Master Pei, I've sent you the things I prepared for you on my birthday party." Bei Yunj looked at the information and responded nonchalantly. She did not notice anything wrong at all. At this moment, Bei Yunj received a few messages. Professor Do, Student Pei, have you solved the questions? It's been half a month. Professor Do, look, mathematics still needs to be studied. Professor Do, come to our department. I promise you won't waste your talent. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched when she saw this message. Were all the professors of Yun University so free? Si Qingyan was the same. He had nothing to do in the institute every day. But after returning home, Lingjiu Literature Network, however, Bei Yunj took out the large stack of A4 drafts and looked at them thoughtfully. She had to admit that the questions Professor Do gave her were indeed different from the ones she had solved before. However, many things in the computer field were complementary to mathematics. Therefore, it was easy for Bei Yunj to solve problems using two different ways of thinking. Out of the 7 questions, Bei Yunj had only solved one. There was still one more question that needed to be solved. The next moment, Bei Yunj took out another stack of A4 papers and continued to solve the problem. More than an hour later, Bei Yunj heard movement outside the door. She walked over and opened the bedroom door. Aunt Meow, what's wrong? Bei Yunj asked. Auntie Meow smiled and said, Miss Pei, I think a parcel has arrived. Would you like to take a look downstairs? All right. Bei Yunj nodded. After closing the door, she followed Auntie Meow downstairs. Where's my brother? Bei Yunj asked when she saw that there was no one downstairs. Sir is working in the study. There seems to be a video conference. Bei Yunj nodded when she heard this. Then, her gaze landed on the delivery box on the table. After opening it, Bei Yunj realized that it was a red lace tutu dress with a cat ear headband lying beside it. She really wanted to know if this was Chu Zhixing's aesthetic or Lu Yuanxi's. Bei Yunj suppressed her temper and opened the group chat between the 3 of them. Bei Yunj, smile, a few seconds later. Lu Yuanxi. Chapter 528. Bei Yunj, picture, Bei Yunj, did you choose this? Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing, who were fighting in the internet cafe, fell silent when they saw the photo. Wasn't this dress pretty? Although they didn't deny it, they wanted to see Master Pei's feminine look. Bei Yunj, I'll keep it well and bring it for you to wear. When they saw this message, Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing's scalp started to go numb. They hurriedly picked up their phones and asked someone to help them find normal clothes. At this moment, before Bei Yunj could throw the thing away, she saw a slender hand pick up the red lace tutu dress that was casually rolled up. Bei Yunj looked at Huashidu. Did Yunyun buy new clothes? Huashidu curled his lips. He had never seen Bei Yunj dressed like this. I was going to throw it away. Brother, you... Before Bei Yunj could finish speaking, she was interrupted. Aunt Meow. The man suddenly spoke. Aunt Meow quickly walked over. Mr. Hua, do you need anything? Put this dress away. Huashidu glanced at the cat ears on the table from the corner of his eye. The corners of his thin red lips curled into a lazy and cynical smile. He bent down and picked up the hairband with the cat ears. Did you buy this too, Yunyun? Bei Yunj. Someone gave it to me. Huashidu's warm fingers rubbed the cat ears. His half-dark gaze was fixed on her with an indiscernible sense of aggression. His lazy voice was dragged out. It was light and seductive, making people blush and their hearts beat faster. This will be useful in the future. As soon as he finished speaking, Huashidu asked Aunt Meow to put the things away and put them in the storage room. Bei Yunj subconsciously turned her face away. Her ears inexplicably burned. Why was this D*MN man so lustful? I won't wear it. Bei Yunj did not have a good impression of this kind of thing. Huashidu's eyes were refined and noble. He only lowered his voice and chuckled. Then, he casually pinched the back of her neck. Yunyun will know how to wear it when she grows up. Bei Yunj? What did this dog man mean? Only Auntie Meow, who had been there before, was grinning from ear to ear. Young people are really interesting. Even the old woman blushed when she heard that. However, Aunt Meow could tell that Huashidu was very patient with Bei Yunj. He was probably afraid that the little girl would be frightened. Bei Yunj, who had yet to notice anything, had dinner with Huashidu. "Where's Mo?" Bei Yunj asked casually. "I'm playing outside," Huashidu said calmly. Bei Yunj nodded and didn't think much about it. Yunqing University. As soon as Bei Yunj and the others entered, they attracted a lot of attention. "Isn't that girl too good-looking? Look at the boy next to her. His facial features are so deep. Is he mixed blood?" Chu Zhixing, who was holding an umbrella for Bei Yunj to block the sun, heard the discussion and subconsciously froze. "Master Pei, let's walk faster." Chu Zhixing was not used to this kind of environment. Bei Yunj responded and looked at the umbrella again. She asked subconsciously, "Little Chu, do you wear this umbrella every day?" Chu Zhixing. "Yes." Although Bei Yunj was the one taking care of Chu Zhixing when it came to important matters, it was the other way around when it came to daily matters. Chapter 529. In the end, Chu Zhixing was like an old mother, afraid that Bei Yunj would get sunburned. Until they arrived at the hall. Bei Yunj and Chu Zhixing found their identity cards. Chu Zhixing was assigned to the advanced group. Bei Yunj was assigned to the ordinary group. "Teacher, how are we divided into groups?" Chu Zhixing asked with a frown. "Your math scores for the whole year will be divided equally." The teacher pushed up his glasses and smiled. Chu Zhixing turned his head and asked unwillingly, "Master Pei, how were your math scores in your previous school?" Bei Yunj thought for a moment. "More than 10 marks." The original owner was indeed not very good at math and science. Chu Zhixing was speechless. If that was the case, Master Pei's placement in the ordinary group was understandable. Bei Yunj took the materials from the teacher and turned to walk to the classroom for the ordinary group. Classroom 102. Bei Yunj had just walked in when more than half of the people were already seated. She glanced around indifferently and walked straight to the back row. She sat down, took out a piece of draft paper, and continued to solve the problem. It had to be said that this problem was indeed quite difficult. No one knew who came up with it. There were almost no existing mathematical formulas that could be advanced. Bei Yunj wrote for about half an hour. The people in front were all discussing. "I heard that our special class can go abroad to compete in an international math competition. It's very valuable." Some people couldn't help but be excited. "It's not our turn to win the competition. There are 30 to 40 people in the advanced group." The girl in a plain dress curled the corners of her mouth and said arrogantly, "My cousin is Su Xianing, in the advanced group. When the time comes to sign up for the competition, we can choose teammates at will, so I can team with my cousin." Su Xianing. Is it Su Xianing from number 1 high school? Isn't she the top student in the third-year group? I heard that she got full marks in almost all her math exams in high school. Hearing this, everyone's eyes were filled with envy. "I'm jealous. She's really strong. Do you think Su Xianing or Qing Zihuai is better?" "Then it must be Qing Zihuai. Su Xianing's language skills are quite average. Moreover, you don't know, right? Qing Zihuai has entered the Qingchong Computing Center." After saying this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. If the two of them were to form a team, wouldn't they be the big shot team? The plain-dressed girl's face was also filled with pride. "I basically know everything about my sister. At that time, if she doesn't have enough teammates, I can help you." As soon as he finished speaking, everyone couldn't wait to curry favor with the girl. At this moment, a girl who looked gentle and quiet walked up to Bei Yunj. "Can I sit here?" "As you wish." Bei Yunj came in a hurry today, so she didn't eat much. Now, she was lying lazily on the table, not wanting to waste her energy. The girl smiled and sat down beside Bei Yunj. She took out her notebook and pen and made sure that everything was neat and tidy. She turned around and saw Bei Yunj lying lazily on her stomach with a pile of draft papers in her arms. Teacher isn't here yet? The girl asked nonchalantly. Yes. Bei Yunj responded faintly. Then do you want to eat something? After saying this, the girl took out a paper box with 3 croissants inside. Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow. The moment she looked up, she saw the girl's lips curved as she looked at her with interest. It was as if she had seen a cat on the road and was eager to feed it. Chapter 530. Bei Yunj narrowed her eyes and did not see the girl's expression. She only reached out lazily and took a croissant. Are you from Hongda too? This indifferent and lazy look was very similar to the ragdoll cat she had raised when she was young. No, I'm from Yizhong. The girl added, I'm a repeater. Me too. Bei Yunj took a bite of the croissant and glanced at the girl unconsciously. Is Yizhong close to Hongda? Not very far. The girl seemed to have thought of something and said with a smile, Did you buy things from my mother's shop in the past? My mother owns a shop near Hongda. Bei Yunj sized up the girl's appearance. She did look a little similar. Bei Yunj replied and thought for a moment. It's delicious. My name is Song Yao. Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj then looked at Song Yao. Song Yao's temperament was very good, gentle and elegant. She was wearing a dress that had been washed until it was slightly frayed, but she still looked refreshing and her eyes were clear. How's your mathematics? Song Yao asked. It's all right. Bei Yunj held the croissant in one hand and chewed slowly, but she held a pen with the other. She suddenly had an idea for the last step. At the same time, a male lecturer walked in. Hello, everyone. I'm your teacher, Zhou Tao. Teacher Zhou looked friendly with a smile. When the students below the stage heard this, they also greeted him. I'm very honored to be your lecturer. I believe that everyone here is a top student in school. But in this class now, everyone is 0. Teacher Zhou smiled and said, Here, talent and hard work are equally important. Teacher, can the students from the ordinary group participate in the international competition? Someone could not help asking. Yes, but dark horses don't appear every year. If you want to be a dark horse, you have to work 100 times harder than others. At this point, Teacher Zhou opened the slide. What entered her eyes were 8 portraits hanging on the tall white wall. But only the third one had a portrait on it. The other 7 were all blank. That's Mr. Huntington. Someone with sharp eyes recognized it at a glance. This was a world-class mathematician. Yes, this is Professor Huntington. Teacher Zhou smiled and said, These 8 photo frames are used to hold the photos of the world's top mathematicians. Huntington was the first mathematician to solve one of the 8 great mathematical problems in the past 1,000 years. As for the remaining 7 questions, no one has been able to solve them. Is it that difficult? Below the stage, some people were whispering. When Teacher Zhou heard this, he only smiled. Then, he opened another picture. It was the 7 unsolved math problems. They were so densely packed that one would feel dizzy just by looking at them. F***ck, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Backstage, Bei Yunj had just finished writing the last step. She looked up and suddenly froze. She looked up at the question on the slide and then at the question on her draft. This was no longer as simple as being similar. These were the 7 questions that Professor Do had given her. Bei Yunj pinched the paper, her fingertips turning slightly white and her eyes darkening. In the next moment, she tore these drafts apart. This made Song Yao turn to look at her unconsciously. What's wrong? Nothing. Bei Yunj took out her phone and saw the message Professor Do had sent her. Chapter 531. Aren't the questions quite difficult? Classmate Pei, talented people like us should be even more hardworking, right? Student Pei. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched when she saw the news that came every day. Marcus had asked her to try solving these questions before she went to Yun University. Many people had expressed that she could try solving the 8 most difficult questions in the mathematics world when she published a mathematics paper on an international forum. However, Bai Yunj had already rejected them. In her previous life, her ancestors had indeed left behind 7 similar problems for future generations to solve. Bai Yunj was the youngest person to solve the problem and was put on a pedestal. However, for some reason, she did not continue to solve the remaining 3 problems. At that time, everyone said that Bai Yunj was young and that she could solve more problems than this one. However, who knew that ever since Bai Yunj solved that question, she had never touched mathematics research again. At most, she would occasionally publish a paper. This made people start to doubt the authenticity of Bai Yunj's solution. After all, although Bai Yunj's father was born into a rich family, he was very talented in mathematics. Before Bai Yunj's father was the 3rd person to solve the 7 problems. He was only 26 years old. As a result, many people were debating the authenticity of Bai Yunj's solution. Did a 16-year-old girl solve this problem or did Mr. Pai solve it? Of course, some people also suspected that Bai Yunj's talent had run out. However, Bai Yunj's computer science achievements would bring a huge shock to people almost every year. Gradually, people stopped talking about this matter. If Bai Yunj's talent had really run out, then God must have felt that the door was not wide enough and directly chiseled the wall open for her. Old Do, is the genius you were talking about so difficult to deal with? The professor in the same office couldn't help but ask. It's more than difficult. Professor Do shook his head. In order to win over a genius, one had to work 100 times harder. I see that you've been looking up information recently. What are you doing? The professor next to him laughed. The little girl is not interested in our mathematics department, so I found those 8 questions for her. As soon as Professor Do finished speaking, the people around him stopped drinking their tea. Wait, which 8 questions are you talking about? It's the most difficult question in the world of mathematics, Professor Do said impatiently as he waved his hand. The professor. Are you serious? 18 questions were not a joke, okay? These were the 8 most difficult problems to solve in the mathematics world in the past 1,000 years. The portrait of the first solver was hung on the central wall of Neely University's hall. I think that little girl has a good temperament, but she lacks experience. So I sent her the questions last month. After Professor Do finished speaking, he was still drinking his tea proudly. It will take at least 40 years for someone to be able to solve these problems. Old Do, you're too cunning. Be careful that when people come to the mathematics department and find out that you sent out the questions, they will hate you to death. That person couldn't help but laugh. If someone threw a set of questions at him, he would probably doubt whether he had the right to stay in the academic circle. She's young and very talented in mathematics. She can understand this new field in less than a month after publishing the paper. Professor Do said meaningfully, in the future, she might be able to solve it. Their country's scientific research had always been underestimated.